It hits again. Kevy, he's done it one more time.
The Chaos Storm! Claire jumps in with the Grand Slam! But in a three-man Moonfall, and it's just lights out for Direwolves, just like that.
The showstopper. Look at the backline. It's getting melted.
Something right now, Sonic Wave is there, it's getting lower and lower.
Oh!
But they've stolen it! Mammoth have got the Baron! He's gonna fall on down, it's just too much damage! Rest in peace!
Oh, it's feeling like a good afternoon here on the LCO. You want to know why? Because not only do we have one of the potential best games of the split on the menu, the last day of online broadcast. We got the playoffs next week from the studio, and who knows who's going to be meeting up with Chiefs there. But, ladies and gentlemen, yesterday we had a banger of a series between Peace and Order. So let's look back at what happened there before we jump on into today's festivities.
That time he was playing Malphite and he just could not move. It's going to happen again. I mean, here's the CC combo again. Like, look at that! What is the answer? Try and top themselves up.
Varus not hit.
Chain of Corruption, final spark one shot. Good night, sweet dreams, Beats. It doesn't get any better than that, and this is why the Crown of Shadow Queen is just so important. In we go for the fight though, as Lisa looks to try and find his next kill in this game. He's now 4-0, but up before Bios, if I can get a double kill.
Hooks on.
Hook is on. He jumps in. See what he can do with this one as he knocks up only a member, and he's just going to die for it. Support very squishy. In goes Bio with the flash. Great dash away there from Appy, and an even better Featherstorm to try and mitigate him. His position is compromised, and he tries to be consumed, but ultimately the Tom Kinch is the one that is going on down to the end. 1v1 to Puma, who flashes away. Transforce Vision, they can't answer back. That is clutch, as he's now got the back angle. He can jump in and hit the volley from afar.
Look, Order hit a 5th gear yesterday and managed to turn that 3-0 scoreline Peace had upon them completely around and make it 3-3, but of course one team had to go, and that of course was Peace. Order get to play PGG, and they're going to be looking for a 6th gear, but for Menulog mealtime, which we got to get through before the games, I've got two of my favourite friends, two of my best buds. We got Rusty, we got Skimmy, and we're going to be having a damn good time again. I tried to pick up Pico to bring on here because I was going to ask you, what's your hot dog order? But she growled at me and she didn't want to come on today. So, look, you mope over there, Pico. That's fine. But, boys, please tell me, what is your go-to hot dog order?
Hot dogs are insane for me because, look, okay, you've got so many variations. I've been introduced to a kaleidoscope of them. You've got the American hot dog, an OG, a favorite, a fan favorite, absolutely. Then you've got the Kiwi hot dog, you know, the deep fried on a stick, absolute beauty. But then I was recently introduced to the Korean hot dog, and they put sugar. They put sugar on theirs.
Dog, Skimmy?
I'll get all of them, mate. All three. Laid them out and give me the muscle.
I think like
so I can try and emulate you guys and your biceps.
I think a few people missed that point of from the fans yesterday. I think you've missed the point here. I'm talking about what toppings on a normal hot dog.
Like an American hot dog.
Not just like
all the hot dogs.
Bloody, not a recipe with a Frankfurt involved. All right, that doesn't make it a hot dog.
Just shut my hopes and dreams down, Mac.
Sorry, I just had to point that one out.
Maybe the alarm has to go off again and I'll just walk away. You can have chair stream again.
Look, chili dogs are pretty good. Completos, they are the Chilean version of a hot dog. Get a lot of guac on there, you get a lot of sauerkraut, you get some very good toppings on there. They're my favourite. What about you, Rusty?
I'm a very basic... when it comes to hot dogs, I don't like a lot of the things that go on top of the mac. So this is not something that I often eat because my answer really is just basic sauces, no onion, because I'm not a fan of onion. Okay. Unless it's cooked into a dish, where I feel like, you know, onion as a topping is disgusting. That's just my take on it. So yeah, hot dogs aren't my go-to.
Okay, well, I understand because, of course, you know, the meat that is in a Frankfurt also is a bit of a turn-off when you think about it. But the flavors don't lie. Look, when you really want a cheat day, that's where I'm going. Now, if you guys want a cheat day, you can win $30 to have a cheat day today on Menulog. Just make sure you get those menu pogs in the chat. You go in the running, win that $30 voucher, and get yourself a beautiful pizza. I don't know, donuts, whatever you want to do for your cheat day. Bit of the Dirty Bird. I had some of that yesterday, and look, I feel I could have felt better today. Let's put it that way. But it's one of those things where it makes you feel good at the time. My body was craving calories, and it felt much better when I did hit the gym today. So, of course, hit them cheat days, but hit that menu pog in the chat, win that $30 voucher, and pleasure yourself, essentially. Now, look, let's have a look at the bracket. Rusty, I was just staring at your face. I know you look like that one. Have a look at the bracket from yesterday with the old updated positions. Almost everything is filled in order, making this lower bracket run a reality, but they've still got a very big contender to go up against today, Skimmy.
They do, yeah. I mean, if you look at that, we've just had 3-0s really across the board. The only thing that's been tight has been Chiefs up against Pentanet. So we're certainly looking at this one and saying, well, more games played here by the side of Pentanet. We were asking the question yesterday, right, how convincing that performance was. Order certainly got the clean 3-0, but even if Peace didn't rise up to answer the call, it was still a very dominating and a convincing performance from Order. So I'm coming into today with high hopes that this could also be a 5-game banger.
5 games would be what I want, because if it can live up to that series we saw last Tuesday, I'm going to be a very happy little Vegemite. What about you, Rusty? You keen for 5?
I mean, I would be very excited for 5. I'm more excited to see exactly what happens when, you know, the momentum of Order takes on what is one of the 2 immovable objects of our league in PGG and Chiefs. So it's a big best of 5 today.
Well, let's have a look at a couple of these stats as well, because both these teams have had a couple of good performances. Look, Chaeon, he went out yesterday, but of course, Kevy, after that big game yesterday, managed to pick up 19 kills in 1 game as Graves. So Pradith has a new scoreline to reach. We thought he might have definitely held that with 17 kills on the Kaiser. That was actually from last year, so we'll see if he's going to be able to bang that out again, Skimmy.
Yeah, so notably, for the second and third, those were pentakill games as well, seemingly always up against Chiefs. I'm not sure what that is. Maybe it's just a bit of a curse against the Chiefs. They love copying the L in high record fashion. But yeah, Kevy, most kills ever in LCO history, which is a phenomenal record. Only the second time a jungler has picked up that accolade. So it's certainly been dominated by the likes of, you know, the AD carries and the mid laners. But yeah, he joins an elite few, himself and Pabu.
Sure, he's going to be very happy about that one. Now, we also have some average kills per game as well to have a look at. And so far in the playoffs, it is 34 average kills per game. That is relatively high, considering we had some pretty short games during the regular season, Rusty.
Yeah, I mean, the average kills per game from memory has gone up about 4. The average game time has also gone up about 3 minutes. So I think it's interesting that we're seeing, I want to say, a more even playing field, but perhaps also with the changes in champion pools in patches as well, it's introduced a more unknown play style where I think towards the end of the season, the regular season, it started to be a little bit more stale and discovered. So it's been a very exciting playoffs, I think, even with the 3-0s in mind.
And look, there's been so much excitement that we haven't had time for some fun. So fortunately, today we have some time to fill, which means it's time for the LCO Champion Conundrum!
Is today the day luck's with you? Is it now your life could read you? Then you must play the game, cause I have to proclaim life's a game of chance.
Now let's see if you guys have what it takes. And also Kitty, we're going to bring her back in for
Raid
this
Boss
one.
is back.
So get ready for this to be a very quick segment. Are you guys ready today? We're going to be doing splash arts again. We're going to have a couple of base ones, then we're going to have a skin. So I believe there's 3. Now let's have a look at that first one. See if you can get this within the first 5 seconds, Kitty.
It's red.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's the champion.
Okay,
Lock it
yeah,
in.
that's the champion.
It's red.
Rek'Sai.
This is base skin, right?
Negative.
So, oh,
It
looks
is
like
base,
a
it is
voice.
I'm gonna need something else to work with.
you never know if this is actually the champion or if this is like a random
just
This
little
has to
abstract
be
art.
like
side bit that means nothing.
they're doing a whirl,
Well,
and it
I'm
has
looking
to be
at that.
perfect.
The bottom right is what I'd probably be focusing on. You know, that sort of color scheme. I feel like that's very
No,
this champ centric. It hasn't zoomed out yet, so
Yeah, what's going on?
they really expected Kitty to get it off of this corner.
Oh, so we're only getting, are we only getting this?
Wow, we've gone
So-
full on hard mode.
We're going straight
This
hard
isn't
mode.
no,
I
okay,
have heard there may be technical issues, and
Ah.
Oh, okay. That is fine.
so we'll give this one a rerun. Look, you got a sneak peek. If anyone in chat got it off of that, big congratulations. I'll keep my eye out and shout you out because that would be very hard to go off of just that.
Yeah.
It'll be ready in just a moment. But
I'm going to say Swain. That's my lock-in.
what are we thinking? What are we thinking from that one? Just
It has
from
like
what
a
we saw.
void theme, in my opinion. It looked like purple, but red with blood coming around, like a bit of a swell, like you said, Kitty.
Like a Vladimir.
Vladimir?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I'm going to actually Google it to see if I can figure out
Oh.
what part of the image it
See, I went for
is.
Swain because I was thinking maybe it's like he has
The
like a red
hand
bird
thing?
thingy, doesn't he? Yeah,
Oh,
the hand.
yep.
Ah, I
Yep,
see
yep,
where
yep.
it is. Okay, so
Mm,
yeah, that's why it's confusing. Now, you guys will figure it out. It is
Sure we
actually an updated one. It looks very similar to the classic splash art as well. I'll give you a couple of hints there. Different colors though. Looks like there was a bit of a model update on this select champion. Would have been slightly different colored in the past, but I have got word that we're ready. So this time there'll be a bit of a zoom out, and it may be that little bit easier for you guys. So have a crack.
Aatrox.
Negative.
Oh,
it
yeah.
can't be Swain because Swain would have like a cities behind his
Yeah.
hand
I
thing.
know.
Nar,
can't
it's
think
not
of
Nar.
anything. No.
Um,
What?
Shivana, it's Shivana, it's Shivana, it's Shivana.
It is definitely not Shyvana, unfortunately.
Freak! I swear it's a W. I nearly okay, whatever.
She has a W1 and a splash art?
I don't know.
Good.
I don't remember.
What's this?
Evelyn?
It's still on hard mode. I'm telling you, it's still
Yeah,
on hard
this is
mode because I know
nuts.
what it looks like now.
Oh,
So
God.
you might get it at the 10-second mark. Ready?
Is that an earring?
I mean,
Like an earpiece? What is that?
What even?
Oh, what's that?
Oh
Ryan's?
God, what is that? No, does that
Does
guy look? Does that boy look a bit
Nasus.
fluffy?
No. Oh, here comes.
Jax, it's Jax.
Yes.
Okay.
It's Jax's sleeve.
She's done it again, coming in clutch.
Oh, yeah.
God.
Yeah, like we
Jax's-
were getting that from the red
Jax's
mist.
elbow.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh,
Good one,
you're
guys, good
having a
one.
laugh.
We've been played by a lamp.
Got done. Got so done. That one was hard. And look, I did have a quick look. The classic skin, he had a yellow pole instead of a red pole.
Yeah, he
as
was
well,
really
so-
purple as well, wasn't
Yeah,
he? It's like
super
really
purple.
purple.
Yeah, so congrats, Kitty, for getting it in the final couple of seconds. You didn't get in the first 10, though, so I am very disappointed in you at the moment. It might be doomed. We'll see if it's doomed as we jump on into this second splasher.
It's raining on a window.
It's windy.
Yasuo.
Would
Alistair.
guess.
We've done Alistar. It'd be annoying if we
Janna?
had it twice.
It's Wukong.
It is
Oh my God.
Kong. And
I'm
it
on
wasn't
winner's
even
queue.
him.
Are you
It was
serious?
literally a rock.
I'm getting
You
carried.
saw a rock
Are you
and you
serious?
guessed Wukong. So congrats, Kitty. Yeah, you're absolutely
serious?
cracked on
I-
the sticks.
I don't know how I got that, but thank you everyone. I like staring at champion splash arts, as you guys can tell.
Okay.
I bet you went and did homework because you were the GOAT and now you're like, I need to stay the GOAT. So I'm doing my homework. You're doing that on the sly, aren't you?
Who looks at a rock and says that's Wukong? Like, that's incredible.
Because of the wind.
I
you know,
don't even-
the world
Just
I don't
melt
even-
death.
spinny ultimate
I don't-
attack. And
Wukong
the third
has
one.
clouds.
Get ready. This one's a skin.
Ah.
It's not a base art, all right? So it's going to be that little bit harder. Let's see what it is.
Akshan.
Sandstorm Pike.
I thought you were correct.
I honestly was
actually
ready.
thought that was like it has like
Darude Sandstorm.
it's Darude Sandstorm. Is it Rammus?
Oh, it's the Skarner skin, but I can't think of it. Sandstorm Skarner. God, it's a Skarner
Negative.
skin.
Rex,
It's not.
Is there a Rek'Sai one that involves the ground, like the desert?
It's a Kled. No, it's not a Kled skin.
Wait, what even is that?
Battleground.
Like,
It's
what
a-
is that?
What is that red thing?
What is
it's a
that?
Flare.
It's something, isn't it? Yeah.
This is like a slug.
What are they? Are they?
Is this Desert Trooper
Commando
Oh, is that Jarvan?
It is
Jarvan.
Jarvan. There you go. They're flags. That's what they were.
No, but what is
Oh.
that in the back?
Command.
What is that
slug?
And a drag. The
Yeah, what
big
is that on the
man.
ground?
What is that slug, man?
It's
What
got
is
one
that?
eye.
Weird.
No, that's actually just
Crocodile.
a flare of like the flame. See how there's a lot of them? It wasn't an eye.
Are you
But it
telling me
does-
that's not a slug in the
That's
back?
not a slug. That is a rock with a red flare in front of it, Rusty.
Can we
but
go
it-
back?
Delay the
Jabba
best of
the Hutt
5. We
looking
need to know.
ass in the back, man.
All right. Well, on that note, Kitty, Congrats, you did manage to get a couple of the hard ones today, so we will see you
skins.
very shortly for those player interviews, but for now, it is farewell. Oh, bye.
Bye.
I got to say bye. I'm assuming she did. Of course, she waved. That's close enough. Now, before we jump on into talking teams, we still got a few more things to get past, one of which is from the fans today. You guys sent in a beautiful couple of things, and what we asked was your pocket picks for the meta. So maybe not these meta champs that a lot of people are used to playing, used to seeing. It's more those ones that sort of go under the radar, but they still work, or someone knows a pocket sort of strat with them. There's just many niche situations. Now, let's have a look at some that are sent in. You know, Rusty said Bard, although he doesn't think it works. Kuden on Pike. How's that go, Skimmy?
It's instant pentakill. I've heard from the man in an interview. He told me, you lock in Pike, we're all getting pentakills. The players, myself. He used the Energizer battery, so if he comes in, he's going to charge you up in-game and out.
Okay, well, let's have a look at what this next one's going to be. Looks like Himurashi says Taric, Lethal Tempo, Jungle, top lane. So, Lethal Tempo in jungle or top lane. Shirelia's into Fimbulwinter, into Redemption, and your team will have a walking fountain. So is this just like perma-healing?
There is a Taric jungler. I think he's a streamer who just plays Taric jungle, but I don't think this is his standard build. He does it like there's like a Muramana in there instead of a Fimbulwinter.
Okay.
I think you want to have a little bit more of a biffing power about yourself. You want to be able to duel everyone, not just be a walking fountain. So I think that's the only change that I would make to that. But like low-key, I'm down for Taric jungle. I think it can work.
Okay, well, I'll do that in bronze and see how many reports I get. Now, let's jump on to the
Least one.
third. Ari support. Is JB on the money with this, or is he dreaming, Skimmy?
I don't know if you'd want to try and run it anymore. I know it was like definitely teased pre-Ari rework where like, you know, the charm would, empower the rest of your kit. So there was definitely like a case for it, but I suppose like you'd be picking things like Maokai support and Jarvan support probably before you go for an Ari support. So it's there, but I'd say it's like a 1% kind of thing.
Well, you guys at home, not only have you sent in the goods from the fans, but you can go in a giveaway! Exclamation. Giveaway in the chat? No, I don't think that one's it. But look, if you do enter this giveaway, it's $500 worth of prizes. There is going to be a link that someone's going to put in the chat so you can go and enter the damn thing. You can get yourself a swag bag. You can get yourself some RP, which means you can buy some goodies in the League client. And I know I'd be down with that. Couple of skins, couple of chromas. Who knows what it's going to afford. But yeah, $500 worth of prizes. So make sure you're in the giveaway. LCO.gg/playoffs giveaway to go in the running for that and get yourself some free stuff. And you can have that code, that link rather, sent straight to you if you would already.
What do they get again, Matt?
Mail in the chat. Huh?
They get swag.
Yes, Skimmy, they do. They certainly do get swag. Now,
They do,
I think
don't
we've
they?
got a couple of swag-filled professional League of Legends players to have a chat to, so let's see what they had to say going into today's game.
I think the league is definitely a two-horse race. It's kind of just us versus Chiefs. You saw in our series versus them how close we are, and I think how much further ahead of everyone else in the league we are. So kind of in grand final waiting room. I would have liked the week to be completely being chilling, watching Chiefs struggle, but I guess we're the ones struggling now. It's like we've gone back to regular season, you know, we get some more stage practice and then we come back in for round 2 versus the Chiefs, and this time we'll be a little bit cleaner. We have to win this series for my sanity, otherwise I'll be an old man with a lot of regrets in his life. I think whatever team we end up facing, you guys should be scared. You guys have seen how hard we've been popping off the last few weeks. You've seen our win streak in the last few weeks of the league. I think you should know your place. This is just a stepping stone match for us, right? Our destination is MSI, our destination is grand final, and semifinals is it's just a blip in the rearview.
A blip in the rear view, just a stepping stone. We'll see what Order have to say about that, because I think they're going to be doing a lot of stuff today. After what we saw from them yesterday, I feel like my confidence in this team is at an all-time high, Rusty.
I mean, the confidence in Order?
Yes.
Absolutely should be at an all-time high. But the thing is, and I feel like we all had this feeling coming into today before we even saw yesterday's games, that whoever goes up against Pentanet or GG is fighting an extremely uphill battle, as they're the only team that's really taken it to the Chiefs. And the Chiefs have been unstoppable this whole season. So there is a big point to prove for both teams. Yes, for PGG wanting to make it back to the finals, for Order wanting to continue to contest every team they play against, because they haven't dropped a game so far in playoffs. But we look at PGG first, and I think it's fair to say that they are going to be back with a vengeance after their Game 5 loss last week, because it was a bad Game 5 loss. It was such an epic 4-game series into a really tragic 5th game. So they've got a statement to make in Game 1.
Yeah, and it was a very good affair for them, and also a lot to look back on and figure out where their weaknesses were. So hopefully there's not going to be too many weaknesses for Order to abuse today. But let's talk Order, Skimmy, because after what we saw from them yesterday, as mentioned, confidence is at an all-time high, but Kevy, he's popping off. Puma doing almost nothing wrong, dying twice over the course of 3 games yesterday.
Unreal. Yeah, I mean, his KDA in those 3 games was 22, as you say, and 2 deaths is a phenomenal feat, absolutely. And I feel like we've had this entire narrative around the idea that Order are a team that would be looking to try and really show up in the best of 5s, and they have. They've really been uncontested. I guess you could say, really, that first game against Direwolves, where they found that miraculous way back into things, has been the closest call so far. But other than that, a lot of confidence for them to try and play run and, try and dissuade the idea that this is going to be a 2-horse race for that grand final. So they come to this one, and I feel like we've got a big emphasis on what this AD carry and jungle matchup is going to look like, because both are going to be keen to try and assert themselves into this series nice and early.
Yeah, and last time they did meet, Internet took the cake, and I think they made it look relatively easy as well. So this is when Order were looking kind of weak, I'd say, when they weren't really playing up to the standard that we saw yesterday. But I believe this might also have been when they were suffering from a bit of COVID as well. So they've had some time to, heal, mend, as we all have, all the COVID sufferers out there. But yeah, as you mentioned, this jungle matchup is where my eyes are going to be, because Kevy went astronomical yesterday, and I believe both of them are really going to be trying to fight for this Graves pick, because Graves and Hecarim, I feel like, are going to be the 2 key picks for these junglers, Rusty.
Yeah, I think there's actually going to be a potentially wide array of jungle champions seen throughout this series, either from the teams that lose, having some more flexibility, but the first and foremost champions for me are definitely going to be the Hecarim, definitely going to be the Graves. Graves in particular is going to be the biggest of the lot, for sure.
Okay, well, we have a couple of stats to have a look at head-to-head for both of the junglers, so this is just on their Grave stats as well. Now, having a look at the KD, Kevy wins by a mile, but in terms of the other stats, it's very similar here, Skimmy.
It is. I mean, ultimately, we've seen them both play at a very carry-centric style of Graves, get in your face, and from minute 1, really get, at first blood. And never really take their foot off the pedal. Certainly getting into your side of the jungle, claiming every single kind of objective or camp at least to try and keep you at bay and really dictate the pace of the series at a very early point. So I think you hit the nail on the head in terms of, Graves is certainly going to be a highly contested champion. We both know that these are individuals that are going to want to show up big time on a sort of 1v1 scale, but they have such a big role to play to make sure that the rest of the team can play off and pop off too.
And look, the ADs are also another talking point as well. Praedyth last week, pulling out the Twitch to get a couple of dubs on the board in that series against the Chiefs. I don't know if we're going to be seeing that again today, but up against Puma, their champ pools definitely vary in terms of what we've seen work for them both. And I feel like this is going to be another huge talking point throughout the series today, Rusty.
Yeah, this is going to be massive. Just watching, first of all, the form that both players have come into playoffs with. Before we even look at champions, Praedyth has been absolutely steadily improving week after week, and came into his absolute stride in the best of 5 against the Chiefs, even though there was a loss. He was commanding control of the map in 2 of their wins. On the other side, Puma, I mean, you think back to yesterday, he was making highlight reels, he was winning every lane. He's shown a diverse champion pool, which is very different to Praedyth, like you mentioned. The one thing I think that they will have in common, besides the meta picks, right? We know they can pick the Jinx, we know the Aphelios is there, is that they are both nasty with Zeri. So yes, it's meta, but we've also seen Zeri being left up a little bit through the playoffs of the LCO. It's very possible that we see some pretty crazy performances from them today.
We know that Zeri has been a crucial pick throughout the playoffs, and a crucial part of the broadcast here is Kitty and the pre-game interviews. So Kitty, please tell me, who do you have for the first chit-chat this afternoon?
Well, me being the champion conundrum goat, I've grabbed the goat of the jungle, Balkan, for tonight's interview. So Balkan, how are we feeling for tonight?
Hello, I'm good. I'm good today.
Doing well? That's great to hear. Well, you tweeted last night, after watching 10 minutes, I realized that we will 3-0 tomorrow. Why is that?
I think looks piece and other game just bad. I think we are much better.
Well, I believe so as well. So, what do you think of Kevy after seeing him end with 19 kills from that series against Peace?
Oh, really? I only watched it yesterday, just 10 minutes. I didn't know. Congrats, Kevin.
That's okay. Well, Kevy did end with 19 kills on the Graves. So, I believe that every PG jersey has their own unique symbol. So, can we please see what symbol you have for your jersey?
Oh, wait. This?
A little star?
Maybe star, but I don't know. What's this?
It looks really cute. Well, Belkan, best of luck for your series tonight, and hopefully I do get to see you at finals.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Great to hear from Balkan and his thoughts on that one. Now, oh, what's that cheeky smile doing there, Rusty?
He's just so casual. Like, he seems so just chill and like he's just such a big, imposing figure. He just shows up and he's just having a good time. Like, I just enjoy that personality about him.
Yeah, you'd love to see that confidence coming through from the Pentanet camp, though. Now, the question is, are we going to see that same confidence coming through from the Order interview? Now, I know it's not quite ready, Kitty, but who are you going to be having a chat to?
I'm going to be having a chat to the person that had 19 kills on the Graves. It is going to be Kevy, but I believe that he isn't ready yet.
Yeah, so look, well, you can definitely ask a couple of questions there. And look, both the people you got to have a chat to, they are going to be those Graves players, which means you've got that little insight into what's going on. Are we going to see that Graves or are we going to see that champ full flexed like Rusty thought? Now, I have heard that he is now ready to cop your answers. So let's have a quick chat with him.
All right, well, let's bring in Kevy for tonight's final semi-final interview. So, Kevy, how does it feel grabbing 19 kills in that series against Peace?
Honestly, it feels pretty good. I mean, I was kind of going out of my way to like last hit a few of them, so yeah.
Sneaky last hits, it's okay, we all do that. I believe it's just a secret of ours. But you guys are going against PG for tonight's semi-finals. How well did we rest last night?
I rested pretty good. I mean, coming into like yesterday's best of 5 and today's, like I'm not too nervous. Like we practiced really well and like we showed our practice on stage, so I hope we can do that again today.
And can you please give us some insight on where you are? The lighting looks really good.
I'm at the Order office right now, so unfortunately I'm the only player in Melbourne, so yeah, kind of alone up here, but hopefully like split 2 people can come down.
It's okay, I'm sure Maximize will visit you, surely, right Max? Okay, well,
Yeah, surely.
We've seen a variation of mid-jungle champions from both you and Kisei in playoffs. How would you say this dynamic has evolved throughout the split?
I think at the start of the split, like both of us are like really selfish and like we didn't really pick for each other or play for each other. But recently, like we've sort of had a lot more synergy, like picking champs that actually like work well together and then like playing it out like how it's meant to be played. So I think that's like the biggest change.
We did see that change coming through from last night's series as well, and I'm sure you have analyzed PG's previous best of 5 against Chiefs. So what do you think their weakness is and how will you shut them down?
Honestly, I think their biggest weakness is probably mid and bot lane. I think like our mid is way better than their mid, and same with bot. And obviously I think jungle and top are better as well, but like their main weakness is mid and bot. Like I don't think their support like picks champs that can lane. I don't like their mid has a bit of a champ pull issue as well and gets out mechanic, so yeah.
Well, we've gotten the source from Kevy. Hopefully we do see some of that mid support and AD gap coming in for tonight's series. Well, Kevy, I'm going to let you go and have you prepare for your series, and best of luck.
Yeah, thank you.
Nice bit of analysis coming through there. You can see that they've definitely done their homework. They're prepped coming into today's game. And I'm not sure how this one's going to go down, but we do at least have the side selection in to have a quick look at. Now, Cheeky Bird, tell me the PGG have gone to that weak side, blue side. So what are we expecting here, Rusty? And do you think this is a mistake?
I mean, we're seeing PGG choose a 20% win rate side of the map. First and foremost, let's just put that one out there in the LCO. It's an 80% win rate for red side. The only thing that I can rationalize for PGG is that yesterday when you saw Order play against Peace, blue side got target bans, red side had to ban meta. And when I'm playing against Order, there is a lot of target bans. You want to get rid of the Evelynn, you want to get rid of the Zilean. And I think with that in mind, perhaps PGG are just saying remove the variables that we're not familiar with, just have OP champions in the map, and they might actually just have to cop the L of being counterpicked with top lane.
Well, they might have to cop that L, and you guys in Twitch chat may have to cop an L as well. I think about 50-ish% of you had to cop those Ls yesterday, thanks to the Dare fan vote. So get those Twitch points in, get those Twitch predictions in, get my prediction correct, which you did yesterday. So look, thank you. You almost tanked it. It was very, very close across those games, but we did it, fam, and we made it, Twitch chat. So thank you very much. Now let's have a look at how we think this game's going to go down as well. Let's have a look at your predictions. Are we going to get any splits? Rusty! What is this?
Doubled down. After watching yesterday, I was just, you know what? I was like, they're in. I think that momentum is understated between day-to-day games, and this is why teams can run gauntlets and can make finals. And I have 3-0 because I think if PGG take a game, Order probably don't win. Full stop. But I think if Order start by winning game 1, it's a 3-0 shutout.
Okay, well, let's see if that one evolves as expected. Kitty, you've gone 3-zip the other direction, so why have you picked PGG here?
Look, Rusty, you may say morale plays or momentum plays a huge role in tonight's series, but something else that plays into this is exhaustion. So playing 2 back-to-back series, I actually think PGG will just take the cake because Balkan has spoken and it will be a 3-0.
Okay, well, when Balkan speaks, everyone listens.
We all listen.
we listen. We know that we have to listen. We've been told before. Now, it's not long till the game. Are we going to expect anything crazy coming through? Are we going to see that Evelynn ban as everyone's done against Order? Or is Kevy going to be unleashed here, Skimmy?
I think you have to. I think you can't afford to give that one away, especially if momentum is going to play a big factor in a game 1. If you give that across, you give him the confidence. He's just going to run it back from a Graves 19 record breaker into that one. He's sitting pretty. The one thing I have noticed, though,
Skimmy, I love your stats. I really do. And you'll get to tell everyone about them right now because Champ Select is ready. Let's get into this game.
Fantastic. I've been interrupted so I can carry on talking. Yes, here we go. Game 1.
I'm going to let you finish.
I'm going to let you finish. So here I go. So, there is the Evelynn ban. Blue side, as we expected, the Zilean, which is now becoming more and more prominent because they really need to address what Kisei is shaping his champion pool around, right? It's that and the Karma.
Yeah, Zilean Karma, we've seen a lot more, I want to say, facilitative style from Kisei, something that enables Kevy perhaps to carry just a little bit harder. And it was even mentioned in the interviews, right? They know with one another now that someone's got to facilitate. I don't think anyone should be surprised that this Graves is going to be locked in first. I was quietly hoping, Skimmy, coming into game 1, the PGG might have like a Rek'Sai for the Evelynn pick or something, right? It's like a cheeky counter because Rek'Sai can still see Evelynn with the Tremor Sense. But it's going to go the way that everyone would have predicted. Graves' priority, easy bot lane lock-in potentially as a follow-up from the side of Order, along with the jungler themselves. And we'll see exactly what happens in the 2-3 picks.
Oh, look at this, though. And this is another one of those kind of picks that we always know is going to be contested between these 2 junglers. Both have played at once against each other. Big dive threats. Both have certainly looked to try and show up as big as they can, but both, when they've been played, have always copped an L. But the Zeri pick is the one that's also going to be fiercely looked into. And if you remember how Puma played this last time, well, he got a few kills. I think he finished 12-1 into Pentanet.
Yeah, he had a pretty good game for himself. So this is, I mean, if we pretend the Graves doesn't exist, Order have got ideal champions for themselves so far, right? The flexibility for mid lane here, Kisei can still go the Yasuo angle. It could be a Tryndamere angle to work with the Diana. The only thing that Order have run into is that they do need that physical damage in a solo lane. And it is presumably going to be mid, but the Zeri pick, huge. The Pentanet.gg comp, however, Graves, Leona, and any AD that they want works brilliantly. I think the Leona is kind of a denial from Zeri Leona as a duo.
Yes.
But wow, this is, without hesitation, PGG have doubled down on how good this Twitch has looked for them.
Really have, and support pick in Leona, as you say, has been the most played by both support players, so I feel like that's certainly going to be a champion that we're going to have to fiercely look at. 7th game now in a row for the playoffs for Rogue, and that Twitch now getting its 3rd performance by Praetor exclusively.
Yeah, he's really the only Twitch player that the LCO has seen since its inception as a league.
It's been good though, hasn't it? Right? I mean, the range mismatch into this Zeri, you know, the Zeri pops out, and you're kind of like, well, you won't get close to me.
Well, think of it in the same way that Kevy playing Evelynn is an issue for only teams that play against Order. Twitch does a similar thing in that it is an AD carry, yes, but it is unique in how it exists on the map, and you have to be very adept at dealing with the Twitch pick to be able to survive against it, and singular mistakes can cost you dearly. That invisibility being able to be abused to find not just picks, but health trades.
Oh, look at that. They are forced to
Wow.
ban away the Yasuo. We do know that Kisei is a phenomenal Yasuo player, so they have to address that one. No doubt that Bio can also play this Malphite too, but the Shen is going to come across. Now, that is a lot of diving threats, a lot of nimble movements, and a stand United on top of that looks phenomenal.
Yeah, the Shen has a lot of potential value for sure. First of all, 3 auto attack base champions are going to be locked in so far, right? So that W is huge. However, this Shen pick, I think it has to be flexible, right? Like, I feel like there's a world that Corporal could consider playing Shen. That's all I'm going to say on that one. But the likely target is, of course, Biopanther. But I think the fact that they dropped their support pick and went for Shen 4, Skimmy just speaks to me on that.
It really does. And certainly answering that, well, you've got no AP. If it's going to be a single AP in the Veigar, yes, it's going to have phenomenal scaling, but it's a big burden, a big amount of pressure onto Yuri to make sure that pick does find some value. Otherwise, Shen, as you saw, can literally press W and kind of laugh in your face. Going to be a response in the 5th and final pick here for Kisei. Back to the carries, it would look like. Unless, no, back to utility again. So really has found his form in playoffs that I'll play to try and give us that pressure. And right now I see a lot of global pressure.
Yeah, and I think ultimately he was considering the Syndra, which bodies Veigar in lane. So switching to the Twisted Fate as a last-second call here seems to me that Kisei and Order may have just said, we have enough damage. We don't really need excessive damage where we're going to be overloaded with only one way to win the game, and that is by killing our opponents with just damage. They wanted the Twisted Fate to be able to play towards the map just a little bit more. It helps equalize what is going to be a Tryndamere that usually doesn't run teleport as well, to continue to give a lot of map pressure in general. And it works so well with the Shen, because now you've got TF that can go to side, Shen that can influence sides just on a dime. And this Zeri should ultimately be extremely protected, and it is really about enabling Kevy to work.
It really is, and I just see so many paths for him, as well as Puma now, to try and target champions and just overwhelm them with a numbers advantage, right? The likes of Winter trying to be that solo kill monster where he's trying to push a side lane out, but it's just going to be collapsed upon, right? Going to be very hard for him to try and get there in time if you've got the likes of a Shen, as well as a Twisted Fate coming into your side of the map, and suddenly it's a 3v1, and you aren't as happy as you would have been before. A lot of those contested picks have been locked in. The ones we certainly had our eyes on to start off the series was the Graves. That's been locked in as a first pick here for PGG. A big deviation away from what has been their strat so far. They've always locked in the likes of a Zeri or a Jinx, but today, with Twitch in mind, they're thinking we can afford to put this Graves instead.
And we'll have plenty of time to talk about Pentanet.gg's composition here and what it actually provides in the game, because they do have a lot of scaling options to look at. And we will go into detail on the Veigar and the Twitch, of course, when we get in. But the one thing I want to mention before we load into the Rift, Skimmy, is the big brain decision of the coach of Order perhaps to make Kisei switch to the Twisted Fate for finding Twitch. Beyond all else, he can press R and spot the Twitch now. And perhaps that is the ease of access to win a game against the Twitch that other teams like the Chiefs didn't have.
It's a really good call, actually. As you say, could you pick the Syndra to try and body out the Veigar before scaling comes into effect? Or do you just say, well, we know where your Twitch is, and suddenly that entire strategy goes out the door? Here we go. Starting off another series. It's the final lower bracket final as we look to try and figure out across these next 5 games which team is going to that grand final, challenge Chiefs for that MSI spot. As we do so, let's once again check in with the coaching staff, get their thoughts, their feelings, and see how they are doing. I do believe we have Chippies on the line. So, Chippies, I mean, what did you really make of that series last night? A perfect 3-0 there for Order.
Sup, G? Yeah, last night I expected the 3-0 due to how scrims were going versus both the teams. So, I didn't expect much to change, but I'm glad they showed their Graves prior, so we could first pick that for Belks, so we could 1v9 this one.
No doubt about it. I mean, we've only really had one best of 5 so far. That has been yourself and Chiefs. Otherwise, it's been 3-0 sweeps across the board. So, does that serve to benefit you? Is there anything you can take away from that, be it strats or, you know, endurance tests that you can bring into tonight?
Yeah, I'd say we got exploited in our 5-gamer vs Chiefs. We sort of ran out of secret sauce. So this week I've just been developing more picks that show our teammates' strengths. And even though we didn't have to show it in game 1, we've got it ready for the rest of the series.
Okay, well, I'll leave you on a closing note then. What do you reckon the scoreline's going to be here tonight?
Oh, hoping for a 3-1, but let's give them a game 3-0. I mean, but let's give them a game 3-1. Yeah,
absolutely. Nothing else I expect from you, Chippies. Well, mate, best of luck. Wish you boys that chance at you know, revenge, but we'll see how tonight plays out.
Thanks, GC.
He's generous, isn't he?
He was like 3-1. Oh, no. Oh, wait, sorry. 3-0.
I wanted to give a 3-0, but he's going to be generous and give them a 3-1. I think was the intent there in his messaging. But he will call his own AD a rat while still giving extra little generosity to his opponents. He's a harsh coach, but he gets the job done. And PGG have definitely improved a lot with Chippy's backing them. So he should be definitely a large part of the credit given to this team. And speaking of rats in the bot lane, Praedyth is going to be kicking this one off with Twitch, a signature pick from the last best of 5 series. If anyone missed that one, he was incredibly clutch. Twitch has a 100% win rate. He was a huge part of their success, but it was oftentimes, it was Balkan, particularly in the first game of that series, ganking bottom lane level 3 as a Graves. They're kind of going against the expected play style of Graves as a jungler. Balkan always finds those impossible angles. But I also think this game is a different can of worms, Skimmy, in that you've got a TF to track the Twitch outside of laning phase, and you still have the Tryndamere, the Diana, and the Shen to be chasing you down.
Not going to be anywhere near as free as it was last time, right? We saw him go for the Kraken Slayer, full DPS. Certainly no self-peeling tools. It's either I die or you die. Very much a glass cannon scenario, but you're right. I mean, that last game, when it first got revealed, you know, it was a 5-0 Twitch by, what, the 8-minute mark. It was phenomenal, really, how accelerated it was into that situation. We've had this big narrative, right, about these AD carries as we're slowly fading out of this ADC Jinx Philios meta that, you know, on hit damage from the Trinity Falls versus the critical strike stacking, you know, who's going to find those breakpoints first? And certainly if this Twitch can get off to a phenomenal start like that again, you get concerned about, do Order have enough of those shutdown tools? Because it looks like they do.
Yeah, and you would say that, you know, Trinity Force is often seen as a duelist's item that Puma will be able to pick up on the Zeri, but Twitch, who goes for the team fight items, will still be able to duel people as he is an assassin-type AD. So they share very similar play styles, but one has mobility and needs to skirt the edges of fights. One skirts the edges before fights. That is what we'll see a lot of when push comes to shove. Shen also going to be seen as a support, Skimmy, not often picked. I do think that against a Leona, Shen has an immense amount of value, where if the Zenith Blade connects, you can't actually Q stun because it's counted as an auto attack. The Shen can defuse you almost in your entirety with that Q. As you can see, that comes out almost immediately. But it is a long cooldown, and Leona has very short cooldown.
Yeah, certainly no Gwen immune, but it certainly is putting in a lot of that damage denial with the block status popping up there. As you can see, a rather long cooldown, so looking to try and find those moments in which you can punish that will be the name of the game here for Pentinet's bot lane. And I think this is where I'm really excited to see this series play out, right? Because both Praedyth and Puma popped off in their series up against Peace. The question I rose with maximizing their series against Chiefs was I thought that Praedyth was the second best AD carry in the league. And I think it's going to be a good ask now as to, okay, let's try and get some concrete answers as to who that really is. Because as far as playoffs has gone, I mean, if you're looking at lane dominance, goal difference, XP, CS, you name it, Puma is leaps and bounds ahead of anybody else.
And I feel like we would have said Puma if not for the Chiefs PGG series as well, right? Where Praedyth has really started to come into his own. So it is definitely a big question that I think does get answered through this entire BO5. Order are going to be the first to make a move here, Skimmy. They're going to kick this off completely uncontested, but on vision.
Yeah, no ganks just yet. Both junglers are going to try and go for a bit of a full clear, but Pentinet back from base inside the river. Looking to try and make a bit of a pinch happen here. Smite goes out and Kevy may be in trouble. He's going to look to try and dash away, as he will not get pounced upon just yet. Rogue does not have a flash, so he can't Zenith Blade for it, but Yuri says hello. Oh, the cage goes across, and there's the ultimate for First Blood.
Supreme confidence from the mid laner here. The collapse eventually does happen. They had so much time to work with, and Kevy chooses to flash the wall when he could have perhaps flashed towards the lane. So just chooses the distance where a Veigar could perhaps chase and catch him. Because they're not going to get active, not going to use the ultimate, is going to be spotted him moving to the top side of the map. But you've got Graves pushing mid as well. It's a reset angle for mid. While we were looking at top lane as well, just quickly. Ooh.
Hang on a minute,
dive.
there is the Destiny, the hard commit, really, on Vision. Clear that one, and we're still looking to try and make that play. Biopaper does have the Undying Rage. I don't think he even needs to pop it. That's how comfortable they were in that 2v1.
Yeah, Dan, that's really clean from Order. If Tryndamere doesn't have to ult, Winter will teleport back to that lane. It'll be a free reset for the Tryndamere. Bot trying to be held as a freeze consistently through most of this game. To keep that in mind, it's a little bit harder for PGG to pressure when the Shen pick is there to staunch you off minions. But I want to go back to the top point really quick, Skimmy, because this is the second time we have seen a Tryndamere from Biopanther. He is one of the few top laners that I think anyone who watches the LCO would be surprised that he's picked this. They'd be surprised that Order have flexed this in the first place, and that it's not Kisei on the pick. But the last time we saw him play the Tryndamere, he was actually really clean. And like, we know he is a tank player as an identity, but even when Biopanther's playing Gnar, he has been a solid carry. So I can't understate just how good he can look on these different picks for his style, but he always makes them work.
So you can't sell him short. It's just an outright tank player that won't look to try and carry if given an opportunity, right? We have seen him have those champions tucked away. Even the Jax, I mean, we've seen a Nasus come out to try and really shut down a Tryndamere in lane early on. And I wonder if that could be a pick to look at, right? If the Zeri continues to be a highly contested champion in this series, if that is going to be a secret source, yeah, even for Corporal or Bio.
Yeah, so look, if they've played at top lane, why not have it as a flex for support? I wouldn't be surprised if Order have a couple of cheeky picks like that they've been cooking up. As it was mentioned by Chippies that these two have scrimmed each other during the week. That is one of the downsides of, you know, a smaller server with not a lot of teams left in a league. You kind of have to start scrimming the teams you're going to play against. How do you hide strats? That is the question.
Very hard. Kevy's going to poke his head into bot lane, teeing up the idea of a 3v2.
I was there. He walked past a ward with Sweeper on, completely denying the vision of PGG, and he doesn't clear the ward. So he's just staying invisible, and they aren't sure if he walked away or if he stuck around, but you have to be safe, right? Rift Herald gets taken, there's a global notification for that one, and Kevy, by simply staying invisible, will get 2 turret plates, which means in essence, well, maybe it's not, we'll see. It does mean that it'll effectively be an even trade though, right? If the Herald gets summoned, 2 plates for 2 plates.
Presence alone of just being scared to step up to that lane, having to sacrifice that minion wave, but also, as you saw, those plates as well. Certainly a good opportunity for Order to try and pull ahead, and a great way for them to target a weakness of Yuri having no TP from the Spellbook rune choice. Winter, obviously pre-level 14, and also the fact that it's on cooldown as well, wouldn't be there to try and make it a numbers match in their favor.
You know, I am surprised we didn't see a return attempt towards the top side of the map. The Tryndamere obviously starting to get a little bit ahead of the top 1v1, but the fact that Winterer dies without using the flash, you know, has started to get a bit of extra resistance in the build, does make that just a little bit harder. Remember, the Twisted Fate does do some damage, but isn't really, you know, touted as a heavy magic damage dealer. Winterer gets to stack the cloth armor, stack the armor, and just kind of try and persevere any Twisted Fate attempts. And that's what he's gone for here, so I like that.
He's just very concerned to see what happens when Balkan decides to make his first move in this game, because he has been putting on a lot of emphasis of, I just want to get ahead nice and early. Yet to find that moment to strike. And I am a little bit concerned, right, because I mean, we sort of talk about the threat of this TF and Shen. If they do look to try and zone in on one key target, there's a lot of protection that can be afforded to that member.
Yeah, Balkan constantly showing in waves here as well, because it is about protection, Skimmy. You don't show, you maybe open the door there for a 4-man gank. There's a Shen and a Twisted Fate just immediately on top of you, and it's hard to survive. But Drake to be kicked off here. Walking into a Veigar can be difficult, but TF spots the Twitch.
Looking to try and jump into Corporal here, lands the stun, the W is still there, not going to be stolen away, is that second Dragon of the game, but they all jump on and they find that kill. The move forward's nice, but the answer back is even better. Predative completely untouched. He's raining hot fire He really is spraying and praying, and you're flashing across that wall, but to what success? Because he's already got a double. He's going to flash forward to try and find the third, but Yuri will do it again. The roams to bot lane net them such a big goal diff.
Yeah, Twitch may get spotted by the TF ult, but he doesn't get touched. They go for the Drake, the players inside the Drake pit, and they actually group up for a massive Twitch ultimate and for the Veigar to free hit almost the entire time. Yuri, you'll see him inside the Drake pit, TF almost in melee range. The cage is just to protect himself, positions perfectly, and Freydith is completely left to his own devices. I don't feel like you get to make that play if you're order for the Drake itself and sacrifice everything. Yuri gets to flash forwards, 2 Drakes in a row, Skimmy, and PGG, they basically bring the game back, I want to say, to an even state as a result of that Drake play.
I mean, essentially 6 flashes were expanded to try and make that one work out. They put all their attention in towards Balkan. Bio, though, flashing for this one. In comes the Stand Junota, making it very hard for Winter to try and make anything happen here. Oh! He sidestepped the taunt. Is that enough? I don't think it really matters. They are just so strong.
The Shen gap, right? Even though it is sidestepped very nicely by Winterer, it means that he is pathing closer to a Tryndamere that has Ghost on and is running you down. Herald to be summoned down in bottom lane, though, does mean the entire turret is at risk of dropping. And Puma has to respect Rogue in the first place with a ward before looking at the Herald. Huge play from PGG in response. The Tryndamere is definitely a win condition here, though.
Without a doubt. And they need to continue to find those moments in this game. Kraber's already so far ahead. Good solid flare right on top of the head of Kevy, who's in a fair bit of trouble right now. He couldn't even find the angle to hit that Moonfall. Balkan makes light work of him. And now we really are all aboard the hype train of what this Tryndamere can accomplish.
The simple question I have to ask is, what is Kevy doing? Like, what is he hoping to accomplish by walking there when the Tryndamere is already trading for top lane? It's a movement against the flow of the game, and it was a face check into a Leona. You can't afford to make those mistakes and get locked down, and there's a big point that I want to make here, Skimmy, about that Leona, because it is with a Veigar. There is no Merc Treads on the side of Order to reduce the stun durations. There are 0 Merc Treads against a Veigar cage and a Leona stun combo.
Just terrifying, because we saw just how much impact Tally was able to find with that pick in that series last time that team played up against it. So certainly if you've got a champion like, you know, the Tryndamere and the Dana wanting to try and dive on through that cage, single-handedly could just win you a skirmish.
Absolutely, it can outright do so, and it also means that Leona can go for long stun combos, right? When they've got Merc Treads, you have to speed the combo up to keep them locked. So it means that Rogue has a very easy time hitting the ult first into the E. No need to potentially even flash there. Corporal Balkan.
Yeah, flashing away, not going to get caught out by that Shen taunt, but he's going to get caught out by the gold cards into the Everfrost. Went diving into the jungle, unattended. And Order rightfully punished back.
Yeah, he's been caught slipping. Rogue has been spotted by Sweeper there, actually.
Oh, he's going to go for it, though. Zenith Blade, instant flash away, bit of a regret. Oh, 2-man Moonfall! Solitaire on his head, and what on earth has just happened there? Why have they engaged in a 4v5? They're going to pay the ultimate prize. They're going to lose 3 for nothing.
Why have they engaged? At what point was that an idea? They had Yuri unable to attend the fight. They don't have a teleport available from Winterer because Biopanther is actively pressuring that bot inner. They try and just go for a 2v3 with Kevy still having the ult in hand and no summoners on the Twitch. There's a flashless Twitch. You're gonna get caught and die.
He doesn't want to be there. He had to burn the cleanse, but to no avail. Once you're on top of the Twitch, very hard to run away, especially from what Order put together. And that might be a bit of a slip up in a game where we're saying, sure, Kevy made a bit of a blunder there, but that was one a little bit too big in response. And certainly an invitation now for Order to try and pull ahead with a sizable gold lead.
I think this is really, like, I want to say almost necessary for Order as well. PGG's composition scales so nicely. And it scales in a very different way to what Order want to accomplish, right? You've got an insane front-to-back team fight here. Graves, Veigar, and Twitch are all going to be absolutely nuts when it comes to later game 5v5s around the Barons, around the Elders, as well as getting picks prior. If they have vision control, they are terrifying. Order are a shorter range composition. They do have the rapid fire cannon being rushed second here by Kisei. So it is certainly possible that they'll be able to navigate a little bit more of a pick-oriented play style, Shen Twisted Fate. The Diana is really the only person who's going to be a major proponent of their team fighting, however, Skimmy, with perhaps the potential of a Zeri pop-off. So I do think that there's going to be a lot more side lane win cons here for Order.
Oh, sure.
Where Pentanet.gg want 2 full items, maybe 3 full items, and then they just start one-hitting everybody in front of them.
They'll no doubt want to invite the idea of let's go for these team fights once we've got that scaling certainly in the conversation point. But look how much work Bio's put in, right? All these towers are falling on Dan. He's taken 3, both top and bottom. Moonfall comes out again, and that's 2 locked in place. A good answer back so far from BGG, but Winter rocks into the fight, and he's back to mini form. That's not what you want to see. If I just lay credit to Bio in the side lanings, he's now going to rock up to the team fight and find a double kill. There's the Undying Rage. There's the double also for Puma, and we're looking for that first ace in this game. Puma flashing forward, finding a triple, and there's the ace at the 17-minute mark.
And it's a remarkable team fight execution by Order. BioPanther is so much stronger than Winterer right now. Gets into the fight, and it's a Tryndamere versus a Mini-Gnar. That's exactly what they're after, but it's the engage from Kevy. It's the follow-through from the rest of the team. And we talk about him being a bulk of the team fight. The part we didn't get to mention, Skibby, is that they can still team fight early before PGG have too many items. And there's one big thing in this replay that I actually want to highlight. Is that the cage gets used just to zone, fight happens, 2 flashes burn from both carries, and then the Shen actually uses the W on top of his carries that the Twitch tries to auto-attack. And that buys enough time for Kisei to 1, not die, and 2, for BioPanther to get into the fight and start attacking. And when BioPanther is attacking, they are losing.
They certainly are. But it just doesn't get any better than that for Kevy. When you square up as a Diana and you see 4 members locked into what could have been the dirtiest Moonfall, the after effect is fantastic. That was a 5-for-0 ace. At the 17-minute mark, they summon a Herald as well. And just quickly checking with that base, or rather the minimap, these turrets are just evaporating. It's 5-1.
Yeah, it is starting to get a little bit out of control here for Pentanet.gg to really weather their way through this storm. Yuri opting into a completed Seraphs as well second instead of going for something perhaps for more scaling damage. Perhaps for something even more defensive, to be honest with you, is a little bit of a surprise to me. I don't think I often see this completed second, Skimmy. Twitch gone for the Kraken Slayer also here. My rule of thumb, and this is just a personal take on this, I am not a Twitch player, is that if I'm playing AD and the opponent has a Gale Force Tryndamere, I need Gale Force.
Uh-oh. And he's being caught out in that side lane. That's a big concern that we raised from the drafting point from what Order put together. 2-man Moonfall once again. Kevy is just finding the angles. There's the insurance. There's the Stance United and make sure that no trade will be found. But in goes Balkan. Going to hit the smoke screen. Going to get taunted. Winter looking to try and size up that minibar and turn himself into Mega. Hop, skip, and a jump. And looking to try and keep them interested. They're running out of options to try and turn this one around. So Corporal commits his life and says, maybe I can die to make sure the rest of my team can run away. But Pensnet still want to go for this one. As you say, Bio is just going to split push his umpteenth tower of the game.
I mean, it's an inhibitor turret that's going to be gone at least. Can consider pushing forwards here. Wants to push the minions in and looks like he'll just disengage. And it means that PGG will get kills, but nothing else. And meanwhile, Order start that playoff themselves. So it's effectively an even trade plus an inhibitor turret. I mean, that is just comprehensively winning here for Order. And they do not look like slowing down with this split push anytime soon, especially with a TF and a Shen that can get active with those ultimates.
You couldn't ask for a better game one here. The fact that they explode into action like they did just there. They find the pick onto Yuri. He's not gone for the tanky variation as we've seen before with the Anathema's chains coming out nice and early to make sure that this Veigar will rely completely on the passive to give him that late game packing punch. They couldn't get any more than a kill onto a supporting Shen. And that your base is now exposed. We talked about Tryndamere being a win condition super early on into this game with that solo kill found, but now with the base exposed, you're getting a little bit terrified.
And it really has been, just a modicum of very small errors that have been capitalized on brilliantly by Order. So, it's a case of just a little bit too far into the enemy jungle from Balkan one time, and suddenly there's a huge punish. It's using the cage to zone, which in theory could be correct because they're looking for the outer turret, but not tracking the Diana. And there's a Twisted Fate ultimate mid.
Oh no, Pradev, he's in Viz for the meantime. He's going to try and run away from this one. Thankfully for him, Kevy's not going to overextend and flash forward to try and lock him down. But the map is being collapsed upon. They feel it. They're struggling to find answers to try and hold back these side waves. And the idea of them to try and go for that soul point seems to be fizzling away too.
5-0-4 is the scoreline for this series. Puma has been quietly achieving through the entirety of this game. And there is a big, overstated point here for us on the commentary team is that Zeri is broken. And Zeri has been almost perma-banned around the rest of the world in the major regions, especially in these best of fives. Still being left up and available in every single PGG game in playoffs. Doesn't seem to be addressed. They prioritize Graves to take that away from Kevy, which is fair, but you've left open the Zeri. And look what happened.
Yeah, and we only need to look at the regular season performances we mentioned before, right? Puma 12-1 on that Zeri last time. That was with Kevy on the Evelyn at the same time. It was really the spotlight shined brightly on those two, giving him that sole win against Pensinet. I was quite curious about the drafting phase, right? If we would see some of those adaptations, the likes of Jinx and Zeri coming into the fold of things. Bear in mind, Pensinet, every single time they versed order, they've always banned away this Caitlyn. We saw how good Puma was on that in game one last night as well. So might be a bit of a discussion now as to, is it really worthwhile actually going for this first pick on the Graves?
There is definitely going to be a lot of adaptations to be made. Win or lose here for PGG, I think it's fair to say. BioPanther, 4 people on his face, has Ghost though.
Yeah, he's going to just Gale Force out of that Solar Flare, keep his flash intact. The mobility is just a little bit too hard to lock that man down. So another attempt found as Pentanet have to swarm numbers to a part of the map to try and prevent it from falling on down. But I mean, look at Order. They can do literally whatever they like on this in this game.
I think ultimately that was a little bit mistimed by BioPanther if you consider that Baron just wasn't a threat. TF showing on wave, Puma showing on wave mid. That was the one time he probably shouldn't be showing bottom. Leona no ultimate, no flash, but the Veigar cage.
Here we go, Veigar cage is there, going to just negate a fair bit of that one, but Primordial Burst has been held on to. Quite a better way to try and disengage Ray just out of range for that one. Rogue going to jump on in, going to fall on down to a disgusting moonfall, but not before Pentanet finally answer back with some kills.
Yeah, still just trying a little bit too hard to perhaps staunch to make a play, just missing their windows here. BioPanther not able to harass and attack bottom lane at the same time so the trade doesn't come across and doesn't get involved in the fight. So Praedyth almost untouched throughout that one besides the moonfall. But even when that hits from Kevy, there was an exhaust and there's no Zonius to keep him alive. So plain and simple PGG, they execute a very nice fight on the back of Yuri hitting a cage over the wall that kicks it all off.
That's what they need. They need their confidence instilled into this game to know that, yes, there are bounties for us to claim, be it from objectives or from those structures. We just need to keep intact. We need to trade. Any trade is a positive at this stage of the game, as we're not going to be at any real risk of a soul point being looked into. The Baron has been there for a hot minute, but certainly isn't anything that Auto are looking to try and pick up anytime soon. But you would say at the same time, though, given that they have got that open base, they've got all this global pressure, be it with TPs and champion kits, what do they decide to do here? Will they look to try and say, oh, we can't afford to get this one too dicey before Pentanet really do scale?
I mean, scaling is going to be the conversation that we sit here and talk about through the rest of this game and how Ordered want to try and play with an 8,000 gold lead even after that lost team fight. A lot of summoners were used. Flash gone from Leona, exhaust gone from Leona, and then the flash from the Veigar is a big beacon to aim towards. Kevy not having his own flash means engages are a bit harder for a team that are very reliant on him to find those, if not a TF stun. But at the end of the day, Skimmy, we have 3 items for mid. We have 2.5 items for Praedyth as well. We are starting to near that point in the game where Pensinet.gg do just kind of win 5v5s, and this is even at a deficit overall. They've got money in the right places.
They certainly do. And I think we now, once again, look at BioPanther and see what he can accomplish in this game, because he's got 3 items complete. He's got the biggest bounty in the game. He's got the most farm in this game, and he's been hoovering up literally everything the map has to offer. That could be side waves, that could be jungle camps, that could be you having to respond to him before that bot inhib falls on down. We might see a dance take place here as we wrestle for that mid lane control and say, well, PGG, game on. Are you going to commit 5 members down here and give up the Baron? Or do you look to try and match us at that major purple worm?
And this is a bit of the strategic diversity that you're seeing from Kisei on the map. Hovering BioPanther last time he was down here. 4 or 5 people attended to his lane. Drake is up in 40 seconds, so it was a potential angle from PGG. Puma, both summoners up and available, means that he's going to be very hard to actually pick as he's one of the few cleanse users on the team. But again, just to bring back an older point, no Merc Treads. On order. One big Veigar cage, one big Leona combo on anyone that isn't Puma, and it is on for PGG to win a 5v5.
Certainly is. And Yuri has opted now to go for the Ignite, so won't have a flash up available for this next team fight. So it's going to be imperative that his positioning is flawless to try and circle through as many of those event horizons as possible. Also really try and limit the impact that Kevin can continue to find, because they've been grouped up and allowed him to find on cooldown, really repeat 2 to 3 man movefuls, which have just been devastating.
I mean, Kevin has definitely been finding a lot of good angles when it comes to these team fights, and shaped up a couple of the early mistakes that we did in fact see from him, right? Some early face checks that hurt the team. Really shaped up afterwards. PGG went towards the top lane outer turret, by the way. They went for that extra gold, and this is one of those things that in a losing game state favors them quite a lot, actually. You know, 250 odd gold overall bonus for them for a Drake trade. The only risk is that it is a soul point in 5 minutes. So they'll just have to keep that one in mind. But Baron stays at an even map state. Outer turret mid likely to fall if Order aren't fast on the punch. And with a lot of their emphasis being on split pushing, they may not be able to stop some extra money going the way of PGG.
Oh! They used that stopwatch at the very last moment there. I held my breath for a second, just waiting to try and see that one-shot go across. Rogues found the angles, then it played in. Looking to try and go for the one-shot, and they have found Kisei. He won't find the same luxury as the spray and pray is there. Corporal drops down the shield, mitigating as much of that damage as possible, and just out of range for him to expunge all that poison. I feel like they will. They've lost the vision with that twist of fate.
Bio's going to keep pushing here, though.
He might just look to try and end the game. They're going to go on towards that Nexus turret. Yeah, Winter has to respond on back. Yuri
Shen's
has
ulting in.
A TP if they want to try and go for this one. They're going to try and make it a numbers mismatch. The Baron is a bait. Onto the base they go. Puma just needs to stop recalls. Winter up against the world in a 1v2. He's got Rogue down support. He's going to go golden as Bio looks to try and spin away. Oh, just at range of that flash Zenith, as the exhaust was not to be enough. But they've put in work here.
Jeez. Yeah, but they can go back to Baron. The question is, how does this go? Kevy is back on the map. No flash, however. No Zonias. Yuri can one-hit him. The Baron already at 5k HP. Bio cannot keep pushing, but he's going to stay bottom. He's looking to threaten the end.
What can both these junglers do? If Kevy can steal this Baron away, he is an absolute machine. He's a weapon, and Pentanet are doing whatever they can to try and zone him away. Good dodge out on that gold card as Yuri goes golden himself, drops down the cage. The Baron! Not going to be stolen. That's being claimed to by Balkan, but how many kills can he find after? Spredev, he's in trouble, and he's going to be served upon by Puma.
Pushing.
Bio's in the base. He doesn't have the Undying Rage, but he's taking down 2 Nexus turrets. The base is completely exposed, and they've removed so many Baron buffs by Puma.
And Bio completely exposes the Nexus. Puma Kisei, what do? They can get over this wall if they want. TF would have to flash or tank the turret, however, to do so. Does Puma really take this fight? Because this is aggressive. Wow. It is not risk averse. It is taking all of the gambles possible. He's going to back away, Skibby. That is a very chaotic passage of play for the past minute and a half. And that is what Tryndamere with a Shen and a TF provides to a team.
So many conditions where really Pensnet were a bit of a situation where they had to make something happen, otherwise they were just going to passively lose that on that one. Those Baron buffs have been removed. Not many are going to remain here. Winter is going to be one they're going to have to look to try and play around here to try and mitigate those losses. But I mean, it goes with the Baron, the fight breaks out afterwards, and as you saw, you know, Bio in the base really putting Pensnet in an XD situation.
Let's remember that this fight starts with Kisei being killed at the mid-outer turret. It progresses to Baron, and it results in him respawning and ulting back to the play, getting the Ignite off. And Biopanther making the play with Shen bot lane. The ultimate was used. I do give a lot of credit to Winterer for holding on for dear life and saving the game for his team. But Baron basically gets used for nothing here. A lot of members fall. And the Nexus is exposed against an incredible amount of backdoor threat.
So much backdoor threat, even without a deep TP to try and jump in on from a ward.
I mean, Shen ults a TF. There's two people at the Nexus.
That's all you need. Yeah. Absolutely. You just need Biopemper to run on in, hit the ultimate, and kind of laugh. And you are now terrified as Pentanet because you've clawed back what was an 8k deficit down to 4. but you're so terrified. How do you ever step out of your base now?
No, you mean you don't. Here's the thing, right? We have to highlight the one ward placed in the base by Pentanet.gg. There is a control ward next to their Nexus. That's to stop a teleport. They are so vigilant, and they have to be, so afraid of just an immediate end from that teleport that to leave your base is almost impossible. I think that PGG will have a crack at this, but they can't overcommit. Too many resources go to the Drake, the game ends.
Yeah.
Too many resources leave the base to go top lane for Biopanther, the game ends. Always keep that in mind. TF ults, he puts down a ward. He can teleport back to it even if he dies.
What do they do to try and address this sore point in a game one? They go on to Biopanther, in goes Kisei, down comes to Sound United, and they put a lot of damage into Bio, who still survives. Look how healthy he is! He just spins away, and it is another day. Soliflare goes across, but look at Kevy and Puma. They want to try and cause some chaos inside the base as well. Praedyth looking for a moment to try and strike here.
Jeez.
Hanging on for dear life here, trying to defend these other inhibitors. I feel like one they can deal with, two and more, and it is a little bit too much to answer back. They're going to pick up some scraps and commit the Primordial Burst to removing Corporal, but that's the sole point going to order.
That was really greedy positioning by Corporal. Just tries to walk through where he has no vision, gets hit by the cage and dies. Mountain Soul will be confirmed effectively in a trade for his life, but his life wasn't necessary to be traded. We're getting closer to the inhibitor being back up, so this is a lot more time that will go into the hands of Pentanet.gg, where it's not just go straight to a Nexus, it is get an inhibitor first. And that's the space that they need to branch out of the base just a little bit more. It's going to be up on this next wave. You can see no more super spawning bottom. And I feel like the crazy part about all of this, Skimmy, is we're back to 4,000, and it is being held there now. And again, PGG's scaling team fighting is nuts.
It is. 4 items now complete on the Vega. Soon to be 4 items here on the Twitch. They're holding on for dear life. But you are so very concerned about that base being exposed once again. The inhib has now finally respawned. You've got the Elder to look forward to in 5 minutes if they can reach that point in the game. And I feel like that's the deadline now for Order to try and strike. If they can get that inhib down again, if they can find some way to draw Pentanet elsewhere on the map, they can look to try and clean out this game one.
One mistake, the game is over. One mistake, the game ends. Pentanet.gg, if they want to win this first game and take the first step to stamping their tickets to the LCO finals, have to be perfect players and a perfect team. There's one hell of a way to kick off this best of 5.
Certainly is, given the fact that both yourself and Keddy believe this was going to be a 3-0 outright performance, where game one certainly could dictate the pacing.
TFL coming in.
Looking for the pick. Oh, that's the 2-man Everfrost right now. Balkan in trouble, looking to try and run away from this one, but gets flashed upon by Bio. He destroys him, going to get stunned inside the cage, going to collapse upon that with the Leona damage too, and he is going to die, so he couldn't find enough time with that stasis effect. In goes Kevy, zone away from the cage. Rogue jumps in, going to concede his life for this one. He exhausted to Kevy. Just out of range, looking to try and find that moonfall so far, but he's now going to jump on in, and he's going to assassinate Predator. That is the play you've been looking for all day long. Yuri up against the world, and what is going to be a 1v4.
But he has to walk at them, Skibby.
He has to run at them. And Corporal's kind of saying, well, what are you going to do?
Just keeping him busy. The Nexus is exposed. This is just game.
It is GG. There is nothing they can do about it. Kevy and Corporal going to lock him down. That is the ace. And that's a 35-minute victory. Order 7 wins in a row here in the playoffs.
Order looking like they just cannot lose in the LCO playoffs. A fantastic game one from them, and also diversifying their strategy, diversifying the playbook, and perhaps taking Pentanet.gg by surprise. This game to me was a coach gap in the sense that the draft from Order was so pre-planned against the Twitch pick. I think that is the biggest clutch thing overall. The Shen, the Twisted Fate, and then the Tryndamere being unleashed by Biopanther. 3 big surprises, I think, for all of us, and 3 very well-played games by all 3 respective players.
The flexibility and what it had to offer, and yeah, clearly the execution and how they made it, you know, look so strong. The fact that Trend is early, or online early rather, and that was that reliable condition for them to play towards, because he was just taking everything the map had to offer. And whilst we were terrified, Mac, of how strong that Twitch was being left to try and scale into it, it just wasn't enough by that final moment in the game.
It got dangerous though. When they went for that mid push, I was thinking, oh, is this going to be the turnaround? Are they going to get a couple of those bloody turret bounties? And then you just had Bio keeping him away. He's like, you know what? I'm going to threaten this, hit those bloody Nexus turrets, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, yeah, no, we can't do Baron. Well, screw this. We've got to save the game. Because it could have been right, all Red Rover done and dusted and all those other terminologies then. But what a game. I felt like it was, you know, an interesting one up until the 25-minute mark. But then as soon as it hit 27, when they managed to take this mid tower finally, that is when things just got spicy. And PGG, you could see, even in that final fight, right, they had their whole team there. Order took a while to get there. But Bio, he knew he had the stopwatch. He knew he could just buy so much damn time and survive long enough. And he did enough, even though it cost him his life again. Order. The follow-up was perfect. They were all there. They had the ranged damage. They managed to get the pickoffs they needed. As soon as Praetor fell, then they're not worried. As soon as Yuri was just isolated, they knew that the game was completely over. So, a bloody scorcher to kick off this series is what I wasn't expecting, but I'm so damn glad that it happened, Kitty.
I am so impressed by Order's draft for tonight's first game of the series. We see the Shen and TF being a really good response to the Twitch. It shows that Order's coach has done really good research for this counter pick. And I like the splitting WinCon for the Tryndamere into PGG. We've seen that PGG likes to draft these 5v5 heavy comps where they have two globals, because when Bio is alone on that side lane, you still have the two globals that provide that pressure, and you give the Baron pressure as well. And talking about builds as we look here, we see another Kraken Twitch. Order has a lot of gap closes and the Gale Tryndamere. So this Veigar either has to cage perfectly for this to work, or the Twitch has to have flash for every single fight. And he didn't have flash for every fight because we saw Kevy get some insane ultis with that Diana ult, and this game was just GG from draft.
Yeah, I think the main thing we got to point out here is Praetor on the Twitch no longer has a 100% win rate. So it's very sad to see that fall by the wayside. But look, 66%, still pretty good. But the question is, are we going to see that Twitch again? Or are they going to go back to something more usual, more relevant that works, right? Because we know that Praetor can pilot a whole bunch of champs that are definitely stronger, have a solid position in the meta, more so than this Twitch Skimmy.
Yeah, he certainly does. I mean, if you know, something like a Twist of Fate continues to be played, maybe there's like an angle for like a Samira, for example. The Blade Well goes out, you just cancel out that entire Passenger CC.
Yep.
Would be very anti-meta, given that we aren't really seeing that ever too much at the moment. But I just found that game very interesting, right? Because we had that moment of Kevy just sort of stepping up and getting killed, and you know, it's almost like Rogue says, "I can do you one better." Balkan runs into the jungle, gets collapsed upon at what, like 14 minutes. And Rogue just decides to try and take a fight like 2v4. So there's a few interesting moments in the game where they made it a lot harder for themselves. But ultimately, yeah, the fact that Bio could just get that first kill without even using the Undying Rage, it was kind of like a bit of a premonition for how that game was going to play out.
And look, the Shen support sliding in there as well. I thought that was going top. I was real pumped when it was locked in, but then all the way down in that bot lane. Now, you guys at home, make sure that you love entertainment. I know you do because you're here watching the LCO playoffs. So exclamation Strange in the chat, because thanks to Circle's Life, you can go and see the new Doctor Strange movie, the multiverse of madness rather. I know I'm probably going to be there. There's 5 exclusive screenings around the country. You can win tickets to go and see those because, of course, we've been in lockdown for a while. So get out, go see all your friends, and go see all these gamer-loving gamers. Like me, like Rusty.
Gamers.
Like Skimmy. Or just gamers in general. That's the one. Now, to get to Game 2, of course, we've got to get through another ad break. So, ladies and gents, we will be back very soon, re-energized and ready for this second game.
All these towers are falling on Dan. He's taken 3, both top and bottom. Moonfall comes out again, and that's 2 locked in place. A good answer back so far from BGG, but Winter rocks to the fight, and he's back to mini form. That's not what you want to see. If I just lay credit to Bio in the side lanings, he's now going to rock up to the team fight and find a double kill. There's the Undying Rage. There's the double also for Puma, and we're looking for that first ace in this game. Puma flashing forward, finding a triple.
Hey, look, Menulog.
It's a double, Michael double, Michael triple. There you go. Jubesy loses.
Jubes would be proud of that one, surely.
That was
iconic.
Beautiful. I miss Jubes. I do miss Jubes.
I think this year's Pentanet is very different to last year's Pentanet.
All of our players are very smart and very good mechanically. So we just headbutt team fights and we take them, and I'm so confident we will always win them. So yeah, that's kind of who we are. I think that the language barriers are less of a challenge now. At the start, it was a massive problem, the void between me and Praedyth and the rest of the team. It was very difficult to play the first 2 weeks because I didn't know what was going on. That's been bridged a lot and is a lot easier. It's still somewhat there. I think most of our problems have been fixed, honestly. I think most of our problems are solved by the fact that we're good and we can just kind of assume what the other person's going to do. Every time I gain commit, I have the exact same thing. We don't really talk, but I know exactly what Yuri's going to do, and we just work it out, you know? I felt real bad after those losses. The amount of times that I went to my bedroom and headbutted a pillow and said to myself 50 times, I'm never feeling like this again. And this year's stronger than a lot, right? This is a year that I had huge expectations, that coming back to Australia and playing and not finishing first was a disappointment. If I finished second, I was so disappointed in myself for the year. So losing games at the start, really big wake-up call.
At the start of the year, my goal was definitely to be the best laner and to be the best team fighter I could. And then that slowly shifted when we got Chippies in as a coach. We're focusing more on draft, we're focusing more on macro than I thought we would have originally. I think Winter surprised me a lot with things he says, things he does.
The goal is definitely to win every split, go to MSI, go to World. Balkan, he looks like a gangster, but he's actually a really nice guy. He's really friendly.
He takes a lot of responsibility in game. He's a massive part of our team. He's the main character.
Minimum, we need to win both splits, and obviously the best showing if possible overseas, because that's what really matters, right? The team that wins domestically goes overseas and whatever, you forget them. Who won 3 years ago in split one? I don't know. But you know Pentanet last year went to MSI. Everyone knows Pentanet last year went to MSI. So that's what we want to do, right? We want to win again, we want to dominate, but then we want to show up after that.
We had a lot of practice. We have been fixing all our problems. We have a new coach, Chippies. Yeah, and I think we can prove that we're the best.
If you want to be a PGG fan, you like watching really nice gameplay on the very nice edge, that's what we go for.
Hashtag PGG Smash.
Some bold statements, some of which haven't aged too well after that first game we did witness, although we have heard from PGG all damn split that they are teams that excel in these best of fives because they know they can adapt, they know they can change, and this is their chance to do so going into game 2. They're going to have to change something up. Are we going to see a similar draft, or are we going to expect a few of those changes to come through here, Kitty?
I am definitely expecting a Tryndamere ban because that Tryndamere can be flexed onto both Kisei and Biopanther from what we've seen in the previous games throughout the split. And I'm expecting PGG to maybe ban out the Zeri or even first pick away the Zeri with your first pick. They willingly chose blue side and they didn't pick away an OP, which is quite puzzling from my end. And I'm just expecting, because they already pulled out their ultimate counter to the Twitch pick, I don't expect them to pick Twitch again for the later games.
Hey, Rusty and Skimmy, can you both just do this for me? Just do that.
Am I doing a heart? Are we doing a
No, not a heart, just a circle, please. Yes, just a circle. Thank you.
I'll work on my circle.
And I've got this ready. And Kitty, can you be an exclamation point? Just be your best exclamation point. There's a reason. There's a reason.
I don't know what we're doing.
That's good enough. Anyway, it is going to be the 100th game of Split 1 as we jump on into Game 2. It's not quite ready yet, but I'm glad you guys came along with me. Thank you. They had no idea we were doing that, but look, I'm glad you're all here to watch it. I'm glad I'm going to get to watch it from this comfy couch over here, because that first one definitely lived up to expectations. So being the 100th game, the players have a lot more pressure on their shoulders. Still, no one about to be eliminated. It is still, not down to that third game territory yet. But let's have a look at which side PGG has selected going into this second game. So they've gone back to the red side, knowing that maybe there were some mistakes made. Maybe the stats don't lie here, Rusty.
No, I mean, ultimately, and it is funny because I don't think that red side is dominating the entire world of League of Legends, but here in Oceania, it is just the best. Like, you can't go blue side and expect to win. The win rate has grown even more after our last game, so I do think giving Winter a 5th pick is huge for PGG's success, Mac, and I'm glad to see them prioritize that again.
Well, I'll tell you what I'm not glad to see. You guys, you got the bloody Dare fan vote wrong. So that means my prediction's already pretty much in the bin because I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be a 3-zip from whatever you pick in the first game. So congratulations. Maybe PGG will bounce back and I'll forgive you then. But for now, I'm angry. So make sure you put more Twitch points into the Dare fan vote so we can see how you think the second game's going to go. I had a look at Twitch chat. A lot of people already said that they put all their points on that first game on PGG and they're damn broke. They're all out of Twitch points. So we'll see if that one carries forward. But of course, game 2, not too far away. I really hope we get to see Praedyth going back to that Aphelios. We know that he's so damn strong on it. But again, the Yuri, it needs to be banned out here, right? Because whatever team gets that, it's just going to be so damn scary for the opposing teams.
They get the Yuri. They just get the entire player. Yeah, he's a bit of a beast.
Zeri, right?
Zeri, yes.
Zeri.
Sorry,
Zeri.
my brain. Bad.
I knew you were getting at. What I found interesting, though, was you know how confident Ceres was last night, right? He's like, yeah, I view Peace and Penta the same, like same prep. Well, they're actually just drafting the exact same bands as they did last night, right? Like last night, every single game was like a Ryze and Jinx band, and they had Camilla a few times, had Ari. You look at the bands from that series, they're the exact same. So really it is a case of like, we shut down Praedyth, we limit what Yuri can do, and we kind of just run away with things. So
I've got some exciting bloody news! Everyone at home is going to be excited for it. Why?
because the game's starting!
Because Champ Select is ready, let's get into game 2.
Yes, Mac, I felt what you were saying. I picked it up, I took a leap of faith, and we ran with it. Here we are, game number 2, and a chance to see what Pentanet can do as they go onto the red side. A few differences here. The most recent one, if we're talking about recency bias, has to be that Tryndamere ban, Rusty.
Absolutely. I mean, the Tryndamere ban is a nice adaptation. The funny thing about being on red side here for Pentanet.gg is that they still have to go for targeted bans. It is just what Order has done to every team in the LCO so far. So the Evelyn, the Zillion will be taken away. Tryndamere are going to follow through as a third ban. This basically means that every overpowered champion is going to be up and available, right? The only thing that matters here for Order is that Hecarim's lost its Zillion combo, but it has the Karma again. They're still going to go for the Ari first pick, though. Take that from Yuri. He looked damn scary when he got it. It does mean that on the opposing side here, though, Zeri's going to be left up. I think that Puma's happy with this, though, Skimmy, because it is just the Aphelios that can be traded into it pretty nicely. There is also the possibility, I'm not saying they're going to do this right now, but they could, just Caitlyn Lux.
That's a possibility, and it's a sort of a talking point we raised during that game as to what would happen if that was left up and available. And still, you know, the Jinx has been banned away, the Zeri's been left, and the Lee Sin is locked in here for Balkan. 8 games this season so far. Another champion, if the Graves isn't there to be talked about, that he certainly does excel on. But it looks like Kevy is going to entertain that idea and say, well, if we are all about fighting, if it's not to be the Diana, then I'll just look to try and trade out with you as this Viego instead.
I'm wondering if it's going to be a Tahm Kench or a Leona third here for PGG in response. Tahm Kench can be a little bit more aggressive, I feel like, in general with the W, but the Leona is the staple Zeri lane partner. And obviously provides a lot of extra engage for the team when Lee Sin has those points where he drops off in effectiveness, where Tahm Kench is more about the disengage for the Viego and for the Ari charm. So PGG are going to fight fire with fire. That is my takeaway from choosing to go towards the Leona. And then they are going to start banning away AD carries. In the sense that Puma has so many niche picks that they want to get rid of the counters, the specific things that he can play, when in reality they want meta. They just want the Aphelios, right? Like they want something that is controlled and known as a response to go with this Nautilus.
Certainly do. And we know that both Praedyth and Puma are phenomenal Vayne players. I think only one of the only two that we've really seen in recent times. Look to try and lock in that champion. A big focus now making sure that the Zeri will not be countered, that it can find the same levels of success that were found in a game 1. So the Zaya's removed away for the range mismatch, the Vayne for the 1v1 potential if the supports start to roam, which they will as Leona Nautilus, and Order going to say, well, let's limit what Yuri can do to try and really shut down this first pick Ari.
And you know, with that in mind, still there is a Misfortune available for Puma if you're looking for a Diffusal. There is the Ashe, there is the Varus. You can run Cleanser those champions, right? And then Leona has a bit of a harder time. So those are things that can still be there for Puma, even beyond just the standard meta. But we await the 4th pick from PGG first. You would expect it's going to be for Yuri in mid. And this is very different. And it makes me think top has to be a Camille? Or it's just a Galio confidence picked by Yuri into the Ahri. It's just a matchup that perhaps he wants.
Yeah.
And in response, the big thing for me, Skimmy, is that Vex, TF, Rise all taken off the board. All of the roaming champions are removed except for this one.
Yes. My point exactly. It feels like Pentanet have certainly taken a bit of inspiration from that last game and said, look how well it did, to controlling this map as a whole. So the Poppy's been removed too. There's literally every champion from Pentanet can be denied now by that Poppy, so that gets exciting.
Yeah, it's actually... So Poppy, first of all, is really good into Lee Sin, has its value into Galio, has its value into Leona and Zeri, but also, in a sense, is a counter to the Camille. If that's better. Oh my god. There's no way.
You're kidding me.
I cannot. The audacity.
So we're just trading AD carries now? Okay.
The absolute audacity.
It's just fake. Who cares? I mean, how phenomenal would this be for a storyline if Pim was to come out the gate swinging and say, this is how you play the matchup?
I mean, that is... Picking the Poppy going towards the Twitch bot side does seem like, again, Order are going to be playing mid through to bottom and protecting Puma as he scales into the game 100% now. But at the same time, we talk about the Poppy being perhaps a Camille denial tool. It's still going to be a cannon that's picked in top lane, and Poppy doesn't do much into cannon. In general, is a ranged auto-attack champion. The Lightning Rush doesn't get stopped with the Steadfast Presence. You continue to dash away at fast pace, and it is a ranged champion into a melee champion matchup. So Poppy can be okay, but it's not going to be as simple as like an Ornn, right, who can use Q to last hit minions. It's someone that has a lot more reliance on being in closer range, and Winterer can run away with this one, especially if Balkan's playing to your side of the map, and you've got Yuri protecting both sides with this Galio.
Certainly can. And I mean, it's not going to be the Camille Galio for that beautiful 1-2 ultimate punch, but certainly this does lock off big quadrants of the map, right? That have all looked to try and step up and find those picks with the likes of an Aria or even that Viego, that it's not going to be as easy as they would like. Bot lane is what we're certainly excited for, as we have just traded hands. It's a gentleman's agreement. You take this and I'll take that in response. Mid lane, though, is going to be a big emphasis now on who can find those rotations to get those picks, to get these lanes in check. And we know that Winter is one of very few in the region that loves to play the cannon. This needs to find some huge teamfight access.
I cannot believe that we've come into this second game and it is straight up a Twitch interpreted of all things that we've seen. But also the Korean Lee Sin online, the Ahri being picked in mid lane, huge priority champions. There's so much to play for in this second game.
It certainly is, and Order certainly off to a fantastic start, 7-0 as we said already, and we'll be looking to try and make that one go to a match point. But Pensnet, Warriors that have battled it out in a 5-hour fiesta, running it all the way through to a Game 5. Is this their comfort zone? We'll find out shortly as the game does start off, and as we do, we'll also get to check in with the coaching staff series, who, I have to say, mate, you put on a phenomenal start to the series with some very creative picks.
Yeah, for sure. Like we've always got a lot more hidden up our sleeves, so look forward to it.
No doubt about it. I mean, playoffs performance so far has been so sharp. I feel like every single time we've had conversations during the splits have been about, consistency and what we look forward to, and, is this team a kryptonite? But it feels really like you are a man of your word when we spoke last night about, both teams, PC and PGG, are very similar. We're seeing that reflected in some of these picks and bans.
Yeah, absolutely. The draft prep, like I said, is going into it is quite similar, and that's beneficial for us. They do have a very similar playstyle, and it is going to reflect tonight. And I think as a result, we should be able to clean sweep them.
No doubt. I mean, what's really been the key though to finding that consistency? We've obviously seen a major shift from Kisei's playstyle.
I think it's the regular season. So I think a lot of people overvalue the regular season standings. That's not to say that it's useless, but really you need to be able to use it to try and evolve, explore, develop your players, and then translate that into a playoffs performance. So we weren't too fussed about the regular season at all. We were trying out new identities, we were putting bio on a lot of carry champions and just trying to diversify the way that we approach the game so that coming into playoffs we could be ready.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly served its purpose then, right? Rather than just being a means to an end to get a record to sort of, highlight and talk about by the end of this one. On a quick final note before we do jump into this game, 6-0 coming in tonight, now 7. How many games do you think this match is going to go?
Oh, just 2 more. Be ready for a quick night.
Well, last time you came in with that Giga Check confidence, it worked out in that way. Well, Series, a pleasure as always, mate. Best of luck.
Cheers.
Alrighty, Skimmy, kicking this one off, we actually did see a late invade by Pentanet.gg, and look at the wave state bottom. That late invade means that the map has been split in half. However, Kevy is level 3 off a full blue side clear and is seeing that his red's gone, is clearing out vision. Information belongs to PGG. But beyond that, he also has a full jungle to go back to clear. And Kevy was not aware that that late invade had happened.
That's a fantastic response, really, from Balkan. That was certainly very quiet in the game 1, but we know he is famous, renowned for making these wild plays in a series where he will certainly just walk into your jungle, take everything. Oh, yeah. And sometimes, look, it lands on tails, but most of the time it lands on heads.
We're going to talk about what's happening with his lanes, though. If Kevy goes to this red side jungle and Kennen and Galio dip into Fog of War, what do?
They just collapse and he's compromised.
They collapse without their jungler and you're compromised. Then you could see he wants to go for the Raptor camp, but just can't.
Yeah.
What if they have a ward there, right? Like,
his laners would always be second to the play. So as you say, right, he has to take the second best option, which is go for the crab and decide, well, what do I do next? Because there's literally nothing on my side of the jungle.
And Balkan actually walks mid, presses E on the wave to ensure that Yuri continues to have priority. This is a case of invading because there is no winning level 1 lane. Like, Ari's ranged into a Galio, but Galio has pushed pretty much constantly, just pressing Q and auto attack, passive off cooldown is AoE. Top lane's Poppy into a Cannon, so you do not get push early. And bot has picked Twitch Nautilus, which doesn't really get push at all, into a Zeri Leona. This game starts being absolutely miserable for Kevy, and I don't think that gets better anytime soon if this is how the game actually continues to play out.
She was certainly on a different foot this time around, where Pentanet will have the authority to try and lay their claim in this series and show what they can really accomplish in this one. Based on from what we've really heard from the players, from the coaching staff, they all feel very convinced that this will be a 3-0 performance. You have to wonder, what does Order look like when their composition is a lot more slow-paced to find those moves?
Yeah, they're really going to have to find some kind of move to enable their jungler just a little bit more. You could see Corporal is going to reset towards mid before he goes bottom, just protecting the Raptor clear, protecting the Krug clear. At the very least, Kevy's second camp spawns are coming through. But he's going to be super far behind in jungle, which means level 6 first for Balkan, which means we'll be very active on the map making plays. And that's where PGG get exceptionally scary.
I'm so curious to see how Yuri plays this Galio, because the last time we saw him play a heavy global champion, yes, we know he's a phenomenal Rise player, but last time he played that Twisted Fate, that was with the Talia. They looked a little bit disjointed, so that was a long, long time ago, and it could look a whole lot different this time around. Corporal going to look to try and make his first move. Instant exhaust goes out. Kevy in the area, going to go through the Shroud. Might just look to try and flash and go for this kill, but that's going to be Fred flashing away to try and deny that first blood. The poison's not enough to try and tick him on down, and it's going to be Balkan that lays the first touch for the first blood. Kevy flashing forwards. Going to try and space out some damage, but he has done a dirty deed with the devil and given Balkan 2 kills.
And Kevy just isn't a Zeri player. Played it simple there. Skimmy actually converts into being Praedyth and presses E and headbutts the wall and dies instead of going through the wall. It means that an extra trade will go the way of PGG. Corporal trying to freeze this wave will be completely bodied out by the Galio, who says no. Praedyth, sorry, I say Praedyth, it's the Twitch, it's Puma. I mean, it's synonymous, so forgive me as we say Praedyth a lot when we mean Puma. We'll at least get there for most of that wave, but at the end of the day, it is still easy to track the Viego and easy to make the play favorable for yourself when you're already so far ahead. That was very close.
That was close.
This is still close.
Gonna claim it, much as he's claimed every square inch on this map. Let's run it back with this clip one more time, because it starts off so well for Order, right, with Kevy coming in here first.
Yeah, and Order look to make the play, they look to engage. First of all, they're behind in experience, so Corporal is a little bit squishy. Praedyth is gone on, and the flash that was used aggressively by Puma just immediately face plants himself into Elise in Sonic Wave. Kisei gets down here first, but neither mid laner is level 6, and Kevy just eat the wall. I mean, that's it. Just isn't a Zeri player. Nice little punish there by PGG.
God help us if Zeri became a jungler in the meta. That would be a newfound level of just annoyance to try and deal with. But certainly, things do go from bad to worse here in this jungle matchup where he's been squeezed out completely. Thankfully for him, he's gone back to base, and at least those camps have spawned up again so he can try and close out that deficit, because before then, there's down 20 CS in the jungle, which is phenomenal, especially considering that Balkan got that early double kill.
You know what we do need to say while we are looking at it is the Biopanther has farmed evenly against Winterer so far, but Balkan level 6 is at threat of getting an engage off Biopanther. This is a reaction time test if there's a ward hop used. What do you do?
Winterer slicing Maelstrom, flashing away from that one, but he's still going to get stunned out here. And look at the patience, the perseverance in Balkan to wait things out and say, okay, your flash is gone, do you still make this play?
Yeah.
There's the ward.
There's only one reason the Biopanther would flash out of the cannon ultimate there, and that is because he knows that something is up. Kisei mid.
Here we go, though. He's going to start up at the taunt and going to go through with the Zenith Blade, a flash away from that dredge line, as Rogue would have been in a spicy situation there. I don't know if they would have enough damage between the two of them, but certainly enough to try and force out some summoners here from Kisei, who has none left.
Yeah, they'll be very happy to have the sums if you're trading support for mid lane, all things considered. The ultimate's still going to be there, though, for the Ahri, so return ganks are still difficult. Balkan effectively gets the flash from Biopanther, but the fight's happening.
Here we go, Rogue the focus right now. She's going to die as the hero's entrance comes on down, and Yuri tries to be just that. There's a two-man taunt. They're going to try and run away from this one. Justice punch in, but the punch is not going to land as Winterer has to run away. He has to burn a flash too, but it's so hard when 4 members of Order are breathing down your neck. And a great job from Kisei to secure that kill.
And all of the great work from Pensnet.gg has been immediately undone. Balkan, however, still with ult in hand. Kisei in a lot of trouble.
Balkan looking for it though, but it wasn't enough damage right with the Dragon's Rage for him to go for the execute on Q2, so he just has to walk away.
Yeah, I think ultimately because the charm wasn't used by Kisei, he couldn't have followed the Q2 unless he did it instantly, and realized after the kick the damage combo just wasn't going to be enough. It's a cute little attempt by the Lee Sin, but we have to watch this fight again because PGG are in the driver's seat up until right now. Rogue just gets caught completely, gets one-tapped. Kevy gets to avoid the Galio ultimate by changing into Leona, stun combos Yuri, while the rest of his team are securing the Rift Herald. Kennen has no ultimate because of the play that happened top lane. So this is the type of play that probably shouldn't be happening, Skimmy. And that's happened 2 games in a row, and Order punish with no hesitation.
And look what it means for the scoreboard as well. Look at Kevy. In a situation where it felt doomed very early on into this one, he's back in it. I mean, he's 3-1 now, and certainly a champion that wants to try and skirmish as heavily as the likes of the Lee Sin is ecstatic. I mean, sure, still down a sizable amount in those farm for the camps, rather, but certainly a champion that is going to be too far behind in itemization.
And so top continues to farm evenly, which is the most amazing thing here, Winterer not having a free lane. Perhaps it's because it was forced into vertical jungle clear, right? Knowing that Balkan was on the opposing side of the map, played a bit more passively. The farm is starting to stretch out just a little bit for what it's worth. And the Kennen farming evenly is still a happy Kennen. Coming into team fights, it just means that Poppy hasn't been put behind and will be very tanky. The Viego, though, the fact that he gets 3 kills in that skirmish, or starts to get really far ahead from that skirmish, has well and truly any kind of level 1 invades that put him behind are gone, thrown to the wayside. It's just a big jungler once again. And the Twitch is scaling.
I mean, look at that. For all the good work that Balkan put in to find that 10-minute mythic, Kevy's already got it as well. So, as you say, that is a huge talking point here for what could be the biggest influence in this game too. But Balkan will say, yes, we're only ahead now by 500 gold. It should have been a whole lot more based on how things started out, but he does have that Herald, so that's a lot of unrealized gold that is ready to be utilized. Look at Yuri, posturing aggressively. Doesn't have the ultimate, but wants to just be off the map and calls Order to be a little bit concerned here. Silifay goes down, instant reaction with the TP from Biopanther. No, it's going to be actually Kisei coming in here as the hook goes out, and Roguish just evaporated once again. He's so squishy. Oh, the charm! What was that charm? The flash from Pradev and a dash into the wall, but his soul is claimed, and if he does jump across, maybe he's out, but it's just not to be the case.
And they continue to find pick after pick. This Ahri is coming up huge for the team, but it's also Corporal quietly achieving most of this game as well. Massive flash hook from him to really kick that fight off with a vengeance. And these junglers have just tracked each other brilliantly the entire game after the first clear was completed. Balkan tries to make a little action happen. Viego is immediately there to counter, and the Drake is theirs.
Now, for the first time in this game, I want to take the gold lead. And what a gold lead it was. Rogue, as tanky as Leona can be once that Eclipse is there, is the Glacial build, so it's very squishy. They try to make that first move again, but underneath the turret, they just have to instantly run away.
Yeah, Leona ults and then just gets deterred by the Viego Shroud showing, and Corporal hits a massive flash stun, ults, knocks up every single person. Lee Sin cannot get into the mix, Kisei hits the charm, and just mechanics max from the Order crew, and they're just doing it better so far. Again!
This man don't miss with those hooks. Something special in the air here tonight inside the Order camp. As they will feel crippled on that turret. Only one plate remaining as Pentanet is certainly bombarding them with pressure that side, but Order are there to protect.
You'd want to say that the Twitch is losing as expected, right? A couple of plates have gone down, and it's ultimately done well to not die in lane, except when they flashed forwards to try and go for the kill, because they're going to get stunned.
Oh, here we go. So there is the flash kick into a Justice Punch to say that Korean Lee Sins really do it better.
Just a silver platter. Taunt connects, Waiter shows up, just throws the food straight at the Galio, and he catches that one. Very nicely played. Korean Lee Sins really do just do it better, don't they?
It's always a treat to watch. And certainly a good chance to try and humble Kisei here, who's been a star performer already tonight.
Dal is very much gone here, it feels like. The threat of the Galio coming down now that the Ari is off the map. No teleport and still dead for 2 seconds. It does mean that this turret is 100% gone and that Order don't wish to contest this one. Viego now going to move towards the top side jungle, look towards Raptors. But if he tries to go for top lane, he'll walk through 2 control wards worth of time. So the play will fizzle for Order, and it is just big from PGG's side. Great little recovery move across the map.
Certainly is, because the mid game has been certainly an interesting talking point where both teams have looked to try and claim a little bit more of a lead, and they've sometimes had some rather devastating consequences as a result, with gold swings going all over the show. But you can really see there from that total gold graph that the game really is still all about this Lee Sin, which is a sizable 700 gold lead above anybody else.
He's doing extremely well, the old Belkan. Galio protecting him no matter what as well here. Skimmy does make life a little bit easier. It's not the easiest combo to hit, but it can absolutely work with a Lee Sin hitting a Q, follow that through with the Galio into the team fights. Rogue can also do the same thing. It can also be teleport flanks from Winterer. So it's not as simple as a Jarvan ult or a Camille Hextech ultimatum and lock them down. But there's absolutely Galio angles through these 5v5 team fights. And that means it's very difficult to beat Puma.
It is. Just note Yuri's positioning here. Wants to always be, as much as possible, really, grouped up with a team. Not the biggest range on his ultimate. So locked in the bottom lane. He's going to always be as easy to look to try and counteract that play as he rotates towards that side of the map once again. And Order are waiting. It's just as easy as that. They caught him on the rotate.
Yeah, and again, this is not the first time this series we've seen that from individuals. Greedy pathing gets picked upon by Order and PGG this series. This time around, it's going to be Yuri. Just walks into the waiting arms of his opponents. And just more space purchased, you know, more map pressure created. PGG are going to play for top lane. Biopanther sees them, but Ari pushing bottom. So I wonder if they could test this.
Looking for the fight. Hammer goes out, knocks Balkan away in a 3v1. They're looking to try and hold on to this one as long as possible. The stun goes out. The slicing Maelstrom to charge away just out of the solar flare, but just too much damage from too many members.
It uses the W, but actually dodges the skill shot anyway. But look, for what it's worth, the tower stands. Biopanther sacrifices his life to save the objective. As Kevin will be here to ensure that the three of them don't continue to push forwards any longer. And with Drake up in 30 seconds, I think that's why PGG opt into the reset instead of over-forcing. And it does mean that at this fight, Lee Sin, Leona, Kennen, no ults.
I just can't help but laugh, though, that the only bounties we have in this game come from both junglers. It really is the Kevi Balkan showdown.
Well, it is a jungle 1v1. The rest of the team is all about enabling those two right now. Viego's also got that X factor. If we want to compare both jungle champions, Lee Sin can absolutely go crazy, but come mid-game, if you're not still one-hitting people with combos, you will run the risk of trading your life, and you almost want a Guardian Angel to have that second bout at life. I don't think it's the path that he's going to go for here.
No. Certainly a luxury that Kevy can have between Divine Thunder into a Death Stance to really weather that storm and utilize that passive, right? Claiming your souls and keeping himself so damn healthy, mitigating a lot of that damage.
Well, that's the big thing, right? Both junglers are going to be going for a Death Stance. Viego gets the resets, however, so he gets extra health as well as the Death Stance. And always consider that pop-off factor that a Viego has that could separate him from the rest of the team. And it's always a potential 1v9 angle. If you give someone like a Viego a Galio taunt or a Leona W into disengaging, but Puma has been spotted.
Yeah, the mind games of playing the Twitch, right? What angle you do look to try and take that fight from. We have seen it Predator. A lot of these games, not just this series, has found those moments of brilliance where the spray and pray really is taking down everybody, and there really isn't an answer back. Curious to see how Puma can look to try and navigate those same kind of conditions. As Kisei looking for the charm, dangerously close, flashing out of the follow-up there from Kevy. The gank is no longer on, and certainly not now that Yuri's here.
No, but watch the collapse from the rest of the team. Yuri ease forwards. There is Balkan spotted, but he's on a huge flank.
The entire team of Penta have rotated to make this play happen. It's going to be a 5v2, slicing Metal
Teleports in.
Oh, look at him go! They're going to find the kill. It's going to give it across to Praetor. Winter is so low. He survived on 20 health, Rusty.
Kisei is just dead to rights here as well. It's going to tank the turret. It seems like it's just going to be Praetor that picks this one up. Teleports coming in from Biopanther. Yes, Winterer survives with a sliver of health. But the collapse was so clean, and Teleports now come in for one of their own again.
Where are you going? Puma into the shadows. He's got no mana. Corporal might just die for free in this occasion. Going to flash instantly into the Dragon Pit.
Running out of map, though.
But where do they go now? Because they've lost their bottom tier one. They have to run to the opposite side of the base.
Oh, they see him with the sweeper.
Unbelievable. He's got no options left. He doesn't want to commit the flash or the cleanse. It would be a waste. And now Corporal is being toyed with. Going to be collapsed upon as well. He is going on a bit of a magical journey without playing the Bards.
Yeah, it's a slow and painful death. They're actually going to ensure that Praetor picks this one up. So a second kill after back-to-back skirmishes for Praetor. Shutdowns across the board almost now for the team as well, and the gold lead stretches from a fairly close game to completely out of control. Charm misses here, plays done.
Nice.
But Kevy tries to keep working forwards. Ari uses all 3 stacks of that ultimate, and this is where the collapse comes in. Even with the charm hitting here, it's just as simple as a flash kick, and there's just too many members. They're just going to be able to take them down quite nicely. Biopanther coming into this play, it's a valiant effort to try and help your team, but the only way that that teleport works is if you actually win a 3v5, and you don't have resets on the Ari. The play was done, and they just try and salvage something that wasn't real.
This is summon a heal diff. Literally, look how close Winterer was for dying on that play. And if they would have got at least 1 kill back, then they would have salvaged at least something, right? So, huge moments in the game, as the game certainly does swing back and forth one more time. But this time it seems to land on a bit more of a convincing position here for Pentanet. 20 minutes in, and they find themselves up for the first time in a series, up by 4K.
But it feels like a much more controlled game from Pentanet.gg this time around. Draft hasn't thrown them, right? Their draft just makes sense. It's things that they're familiar with. Praetor gets Zeri. Rogue, I feel like, is a bit of a one-trick lately. Leona at all times. EGG with a Lee Sin for Balkan. And they will be hitting the Baron.
Certainly will be. No vision, no idea. But they will certainly know that something is up on the map because it's 20 minutes in. Where else could they be?
Oh, they know.
So the flare on towards Corporal, who's going to try and buffer that with the Dredge line away. Look at Biopemp's positioning right now. Going to look to try and hit that knock-up. He's going to knock away Leona. They're not tugging her after. Balkan goes in. He's got the lifesteal with that Death Stance, but has to jump away after that. Shutdown comes across. Puma, he's spitting poison from the mid lane inside the jungle, but Pentanet might just disengage away for free.
Yeah, it is just going to be a full disengage from both teams. PGG with more members alive, more health bars in general. Order still have Puma with full health, but no flash. A lot harder in the forthcoming skirmishes when they break out. They do get a shutdown on the Lee Sin, however, in that effective 1-for-1 trade. You want to say that Order are happy with that? But they will most likely be sacrificing the Drake, and the teleport comes in top lane, Skimmy. It's confirmed.
It really is. And, I mean, it's been great, really, these last few moments where it is the 80 carries that are able to pick up those kills, right? The fact that Puma got that shutdown, that Predator found those 3 kills, and that crazy passage of play only moments prior. They can also answer back now and find their second Drake of the game. Soul points have been certainly hard to come by, not clear-cut by either side, but another chance for Tencent to keep themselves topped up and healthy.
We do find ourselves in another game that has a Twitch composition where the Soul AP has also had to build resistance items. Everfrost straight into a Banshee's Veil is definitely going to leave a lot to be desired in terms of raw DPS. We'll see this fight one more time. Puma very much has to respect the threat of Vel'Karn, so sits back as long as possible. By the time he finds an angle to go in, Lee Sin has bought so much time and space. Biopanther hits a fantastic ultimate, by the way, but at the same time, there's still too many members there hitting him, and so it will eventually just result in a trade there. Still favorable for PGG, I feel like, but the monetary value of Vel'Karn kind of equalizes that trade.
It does. Now it's only 3k. The Pentiment find themselves ahead by. Puma will be quite happy that he looks at the scoreboard and says, well, we're even on items with this Zeri. Pentiment, though, return to the scene of the crime and look to once again lay down some vision and interest, or excite the idea, rather.
Did they get spotted there?
Because they again.
Oh, they have 2 wards around the pit, but the way that they got into the pit skirted the vision completely.
It's like a lip into it, yeah.
This is going to get swept with no indicator that it's being done, but I think actually the fact that Winter has swept it without clearing is more of a sign that it's being done. Yeah, so he's going to go back. They just don't know. That is just so brilliantly done by PGG if this Baron is secured. And it's already too low for a response to come in.
Far too low. They're only going to start to respond to this one now. Biopanther can TP from bot side to the Baron pit, but in they go. And then they're going to say, well, let's try and get some kills and remove as many of these Baron buffs as possible. Rogue the focus, going to look to try and jump on down. In goes Corporal to knock up as many people as possible. But Puma's found that first kill. They've removed the Leona, the charm onto Yuri, but he's got the Merc Tread, so he can literally walk away, try and bait down onto Tara, and then go golden with that Zonius across the wall. They try and find a kill to Winter, and they do! He had the flash, he had the slicing maelstrom, but he just couldn't use it. Kevy is getting the resets. It's a paradise here for the Viego.
Viego finds the pop-off effect as a result of Biopanther just being nasty with that pop. He gets over the wall, puts in some crazy surprise amounts of work there. Outer turret drops in mid lane. Baron picked up by PGG, but they get caught out on the disengage. They don't sacrifice anyone. They try and really keep everybody alive. And then a team with a Viego and an Ari is all about those resets and how beautiful it looks when it works.
It certainly does look beautiful. And they were full steam ahead, taking everybody down that went into their vision. Only Balcard and Praetor that remain with this Baron buff, and I think Corporal's been caught here.
That is inting.
Positioning not to be desired here. We're going to zoom in on that one because even the observers are confused about that one. Fair enough.
He's gone for a walkabout by himself. He's discovered a new religion.
Why not?
To stay. Still no Baron to play for, though. Remember, they have Baron to use with 1 member dead, but because it is Corporal, it is the lowest death timer on the team. He'll be up to try and contest this turret in 5 seconds with home guards. That's the window PGG are going to use.
Yeah, I think like PGG don't want to greed this one. They want to look to try Strikers 5. We still have that flash slicing Maelstrom. We've still got a lot of damage if we can team fight with this one. Let's be strong as numbers and utilize this Baron. Try and siege for success. They size up the Sonic Wave, they size up the Zenith Blade too. Kisei clean with it, but the charm target isn't the one they want to go for.
And still not much damage to be seen from the Ari, just because it is, of course, the Banshee's only building into full AP now, so at 3 items, expect a little bit more DPS. Something that can really threaten the health bars of everyone on PGG, as they only really have the 1 pure tank. They have 2 off tanks, 1 full tank in the Leona, and then just a bunch of bruisers, right? And Kennen and Zeri. It is definitely a low-range, dive-heavy and dive-centric composition, which can play into the hands of a Viego, of a Poppy also. Right, Nautilus is actually very good at peeling if you see the ultimate go into cannon, like in that last team fight near the Baron. Corporal's been quietly achieving in this game, other than when he has the mind blank moments.
Yeah, the hooks have been good, and the ultimates have always been knocking up a lot of members, acting as that sort of pseudo Lee Sin kick, if you will. So they've been certainly keen to answer the call of what Pentanet throwing towards them. Drake though, 10 seconds.
And I'll be honest, Skimmy, knowing that Kisei's not dealing too much damage yet, it at least is going to be a death cap into like potentially a Shadow Flame or something afterwards. There is no magic resistance being purchased whatsoever by PGG. It starts to feel like it's a one-threat team with a Twitch only dealing damage, and they should be very happy that Kevy has 6 of the kills, because he is now another actual threat, which is giving them a win condition in team fights.
No doubt about it. Kisei going to try and go for this play right now. Instantly forces out Yuri to go gold, and fight takes place in the Dragon Pit at the exact same time. Fight still breaks out here around this play. As Yuri's dead, in goes to Slicing Maelstrom, and he's just going to die. Puma's going to find that kill. They're going to find 2. As Zari comes on cross, and they're going to double kill on both their mid and their bot lane. They're going to look to try and find their first ace in this game. Balkan running for the hills, but it's those 2, both carries, coming in clutch.
And what can you say about this whole series? It feels like Order are just better at team fighting. Once again, it comes to the 5v5, it comes to the crunch time. Kisei's Ari gets the pick. They find the avenue of entry, all focus shifts away from Puma as Ari makes it happen. Viego gets into the mix. And look at the damage that Puma does when that focus shifts. We'll watch this fight one more time and just keep your eyes on how Puma's able to position here freely. Leona's used a full combo on Kevy, who stopwatches it. Puma has not been touched, flashes once, and that is just Winterer getting into the mix. Meanwhile, resets are there on Ari and Viego, and at that point the fight is lost. It's just that simple.
Phenomenal positioning though from Twitch once again. I mean, the fact that you can just be left to your own devices to pick up all those kills and say that yes, we can be confident in Kevy's ability to try and act as another carry in this game, but we're certainly not out of this one as being a one-dimensional team, even more so if it is going to be a bit more of a Battle Mage defensive DC heavy RE build. The death cap's complete.
The death cap done is massive. I would like to see a Shadow Flame or a Horizon Focus next, I feel like would be optimal. There is 3 Merc trades, there is some magic resistance. There's definitely a Void Staff value to be purchased, but we'll see what he chooses to go towards. I just want as much damage as possible from this mid laner, but again, as it stands, now you've got a 700 gold shutdown on your AD. Do you even need it when your Twitch is this large and is positioning as perfectly as he is? Yeah. And it's funny to me, Skivvy, because that last fight is an example of what feels like PGG falling on their own sword. The Twitch clutches a team fight against them. Like, on what
so
planet?
True. I think the biggest concern for me though, Rusty, is the fact that they lost that in such a devastating fashion that they got aced without taking down anybody from Order in response.
Yeah,
so not only are you falling on your own sword, losing to your own pocket pick, but it's a case of not having anything to really take away from that one and be happy about.
And there's so many things we should be celebrating about Order, but there is this second feeling that we're going to have to contend with, which is what is PGG doing that can be remedied coming through the rest of this series? Because every time it comes to a 5v5, even when they have the 5v5 team, they're suffering. And a lot of it's about setup. Perhaps it really is a communication difference here for Order. But now they have a lot of control over the map. They're not outright winning. The game's even. It can still go any way. But you want to see more from PGG. They have to lift.
They have to, because Order right now command mid, they command bot, and then they go for the fight. Winter going to zone away 2 from the backline. Puma has a cleanse, he has not got a flash. He couldn't get the one shot, Kennen couldn't find it. In they go to try and turn onto Corporal. They knock away Yuri. Corporal's still alive, going to get claimed upon by that Gorge Drinker Sonic Wave. But they're still losing numbers. Puma is still alive, Kisei is there. They've only got a Nautilus for potential another ace again.
Teleporting into mid lane from 200 units away is Kisei.
Yuri up against the wall. He's still got those Zonias as Kisei's just going to drop that aggro. Still, Balkan and Bio doing battle. Sidesteps out that Sonic Wave, but the base is in shambles. He just wants to delay him going back to base, prevent them from defending this mid and here. But I think they might be, because this one's still going on. Picture in picture We're marching towards the Nexus.
I don't know if they can
with
do
a Minion
this.
Wave still there to go for it. This seems dicey. Yuri is there.
Rogue's alive.
The team is respawning. Kiss is going to fall on down here. Yuri's going to go golden. Shut down found. Rogue is going to look to try and make a play. As Balkan also wins out in that fight against Bio. They're down for 40 seconds now.
Yeah, that's really bad from Order. They just perhaps miscalculate. Teleports are going to come in here as well. Kisei does have ultimate, so it's unlikely that he would fall victim, but it's going to be a Baron secured. Poppy losing the 1v1, the teleport mid to lose all of your health, and then just mistiming the push. Consider that Order could have just done Baron. They could have perhaps, as a team, chased Balkan into Baron. But all of this transpires, the door has been left ajar. And Pensnet.gg are just going to kick it down.
Wow, Order certainly getting a little bit hyped from that fight. Looking to take literally everything the map had to offer. They took a Nexus turret, they took their mid lane inhibitor. We saw how the script played out last game, but they have given Pentnet a second opportunity to claim that second Baron. The timing is phenomenal because not only will they have that buff and those combat prowess abilities, but there's another dragon up for grabs. Order will have that win con to play towards a free back-to-back Infernal Drakes and an Infernal Soul to talk about, but Pentnet would be certainly keen to go for that fight still with a gold lead.
How do we set up for this Drake? How do we play around this one? Order are going to staunch into the river, but it feels like they've been the ones who are going to get a little bit more psyched out. They're afraid of the hard engage from PGG. Mid priority comes first. Twitch is showing on the wave. And remember that if PGG stick around this Baron a little bit too long and the fight protracts, there's supers pushing and knocking down the front door of their base. Look at Winterer, look at Kisei.
Banshee's still there. Kevy and Kratos going to do whatever they can to try and turn out this fight in their favour. Aggro's lightning crash, nice little kick away straight away, looking to try and remove that impact ultimate. As it is going to be Corporal falling on down. The Draco's being claimed. Infernal Soul is there for Order. It's Infernal Soul up against Baron. Who wins out? Stasis effects are there. GAs are good. Double kill fan for Predator, but he's dead. And Puma once again is just still alive. He is just untouchable. As Kisei claims one more kill. The ultimate has expired, but he's got the moves. Where could Yuri be? There it is. It's another ace. And this time, the base is theirs to claim.
And the base 100% belongs to them. Super minions are going to knock down the turret for them to make the job even easier. That was an Infernal Soul Twitch putting on an absolute highlight reel performance. It feels like Pentanet.gg shaped up Skimmy towards the end, but it just was not enough. 5v5s belong to Order in this series.
All smiles on the side of the Order players there, as they may just have a perfect run all the way through into the grand finals. They're now 2-0 in this lower bracket final in what is already proving to be a very dominant best-of-5 performance.
Just extremely well played from them, almost across the board, right? The fact that the Twitch pick works after that level 1, I think, again, pays credit to the skirmishing of Order in the first place. The Ari, the Viego composition, being on blue side, breaking the red side trend, by the way, of winning almost every single game, but not breaking the trend of Order never losing in playoffs so far. This is the run.
It certainly is, and it is the 4th game won on blue side out of a plethora of games that have happened so far. So certainly an abnormality, but there was nothing abnormal really about that performance there, Mac. It was, maybe a small moment where you got a little bit concerned by them going for that play and, the Baron being swung around, but team fights have been looking so clean.
Mate, the team fights have been ridiculous, mostly because of Puma's positioning and everyone else just drawing enough attention to allow him to stand on the opposite side of the walls, similar to what we saw Praetor doing the other day in the Chiefs game. He's just always in the right position, playing on the back line or just playing in a position where it seems PGG don't understand they're getting hit from. And this was the moment where things started to turn around in that early game. You guys mentioned it, PGG got off to probably the best start possible, just taking 3/4 of the jungle, all for Balkan. The man also got like 6 kills during this early game. He was taking everything for himself. The Korean Lee Sins do it different, but Order, they pushed through, even with the gold difference, which I'm actually keen to see this gold graph, because PGG, I felt like they were ahead for a good chunk of this game, no matter how close it was. You're having a look here, still 3k in the lead, but both of these dragon fights, again, have a look at Puma. Once he flashes across the wall here, he has just done so much damn damage to those red health bars, and he's just looking like he's untouched. He's got the tiniest bit of black on that health bar there, Kitty.
Look, I'm gonna be honest, I saw the bot lane 2v2 and I believe it was, no, 3v3, and it was 2 kills to PGG and 1 kill to Order, and it looked really good. It looked like a good start for PGG. I came back and it was 4-2. I came back again and it was like 6-3 or something. And I think the main reason why PGG lost a lot of these fights, especially around Herald, is what Rusty mentioned. They didn't play around that cannon ult in the early games, where this cannon is the main weapon they have for this Twitch for the early game and to lock down the Viego for the fights. And I need to give prop to Kise and Kevi for being MVPs during that fight, during that game in general, and they played really well for those fights, giving off the resets for the Viego. And Kevi, although building really safe items in the early game, he was able to get those engages and secure the start of a fight. And PG just seemed really lost. They didn't know who to target. The Viego was just constantly getting resets. They couldn't get the Ahri because she was just so tanky with her build, and Twitch just had really good positioning throughout all the fights.
Yeah, positioning and just so much damage. 25k done, and it's one of those very rare affairs here in the LCO where you do see the gold graph swing back for a little comeback. Although I guess like at most it was only like that 5k gold lead at the 20-minute mark for PGG. You need to point out their rotations as well though. During that early to mid game, they were catching Order in so many different positions. They were running for those fights as well. They were really on the hunt, trying to suffocate them. But Order just somehow used persistence, just grinded back into the game and grinded to a second game win in this series. But the series isn't done yet, Skimmy.
It isn't, but I would be certainly concerned now from all the confidence that Pentanet have displayed, not only in their interviews, but from their performances in this playoff so far. Look how much of a challenge you gave Chiefs, and sort of now you're looking at a situation where you're 2-0, and you've had moments, but there've not been enough moments for you to actually close out a victory. And I feel like this next 10 minutes is huge for their entire split, because narratives just go out the door again. Peace knocked out one of the teams that have only ever made playoffs. Same could be said for PGG. All they've ever known has been success, and Order are certainly coming through and saying, forget narratives, we're here.
Well, that's it. Before my time, I just remember hearing about Order being that gauntlet team that would always seem to make the gauntlet run happen, and it's starting to happen again. Rusty's
I was
he's
coaching
over it.
teams and he was eliminating. Spawn was eliminating me from playoffs every bloody year.
And he's not even here anymore, but he's still bringing the thunder. Now, you guys are bringing the thunder as well. From the fans, we asked, what are your favorite off-meta champ picks? And we have a few more from you guys at home. So let's see what you have sent in. James Destin, Zyra, any position. Insta win for first team to pick. You reckon, Skimmy, huh?
I don't know. I feel like in my opinion, Zyra feels weak. The Zyra I prefer was the old one with a passive where she became a fawn that you could just shoot at a projectile and like one-tap somebody with. That was fun.
Yeah, you're right.
That was so good. But now you kind of just like hear some plants and get tickled, and you're kind of just laughing.
Okay, get tickled. Now we'll see what else is there. Thank you, James, for that one. We got someone else, so let's see who it is. A real squid. With the squid from Mario. Lilia's support. You can double proc spell thieves with a single ability hit and other great perks. Is that just because of the ticking dot?
I suppose.
Would that be why?
Like, I mean, that makes some sense, but like, what are the other great perks? Like, if you're double procking spell thieves with an ability hit, why not play Brand?
True. That is
Who does that
very...
same thing from range?
True.
Oh, so Rusty didn't like that one. He's
No,
already
sorry.
got better picks. Sorry, Squid. Maybe next time he'll enjoy your opinion.
Or Bard
But look,
with a meep slap. Just throwing that one out there. Double proc.
Anyway, let's talk about double procs during the break, because, ladies and gents, we've got to get to this third game, which could very well be the final game if Order keep on popping off. Let's see what happens just after this.
Whoa. Try and go for this play right now. Instantly forces out you to go gold, and fight takes place in the Dragon Pit at the exact same time. Fight still breaks out here around this play. As Yuri's dead, in goes the slicing Maelstrom, and he's just going to die. Puma's going to find that kill. They're going to find two. As Zari comes on cross, and they're going to double kill on both their mid and their bot lane. They're going to look to try and find their first ace in this game. Volcon running for the hills. But it's those two.
Hey, look, Menulog.
Fiddlesticks.
Incorrect. Again. Come on, boys.
Skin. This is a base, right?
Senna?
Kazakhs.
It's, look, at this point,
Warwick.
you're seeing...
Warwick, right.
Oh, it has to be Warwick. No, it's not Warwick. Oh, how's that not Warwick?
How is that not Warwick?
It has to be Warwick. He's got claws, right? Nothing else in this game has claws or teeth or
Which? What?
You got it.
No shot.
Oh,
No
no
shot.
way, bro.
Congratulations. I'm going to give you half a point.
Warwick.
Sneaky. It had to be Warwick, right? Like, it just had to be.
Yep.
Now, look, that managed to trigger everyone's memory that Twitch existed, and all of a sudden, we started getting Twitch picks in the playoffs, and we're seeing it for both sides. More successful for one today than the other. But are we going to see it sneak into Game 3? Is it really the pick that is, you know, going to be one of these key picks? Because Praedyth and Puma love it, both of which have been huge win conditions for their team, and Praedyth hasn't managed to have a amazing game, which we are kind of expecting from him at this point, Skimmy.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's going to be the make or break pick. I wouldn't be surprised if they look to try and default back to either like a double support, protect the AD carry kind of style of gameplay, right? With like a, you know, an enchanter mid and, you know, like the Karma gameplay that we've seen from the likes of Kese, for instance. Yeah. Or even if they look to try and play a lot more a defensive minded champion, something like a Xayah coming out to try and make sure that they just don't die. Because it feels like every single team fight we're seeing, whichever AD carry lives just wins the game. And ultimately in that last game, right, even without summoners, Puma is always towing the line between I could die, but just enough pressure to stay alive and ultimately getting that team fight win. So big burden on those two players.
We'll see how that one works. Kitty, anything you want to point out? Any point of difference or things you'd like to see change going into this third game for PGG to give them a better chance?
It seems that Twitch is the traditional answer for both teams for the very counter, but I just want to see PGG roll it back with the Jarvan, the Aphelios, maybe even a Jinx, maybe something else, a hyper carry. Gotcha. I want to see Yuri back on his carry champions. I don't know why they keep forcing Yuri on these utility mid laners when we know that he isn't a utility player. I know Kise used to not be a utility player, but he has grown into the role as Yuri kind of seems forced on it and he seems a little bit lost in these team fights. Winter, because of his mid laner not up to standards for the series at the moment, I just think maybe just put them on comfort, maybe Yuri on maybe
an assassin,
Irelia, assassin, yeah, Kali, and I'm sure that PGG will find a win.
Well, the Dare fan vote last game was 51% to 49%. It couldn't have been closer. Over 1 million points put on the line. And I want to see 2 million this game. Please get your bloody Twitch predictions
I'll put
in.
my 500 in.
I don't know who's even going to be making the stonks. I think Order were down by the 2%. I can't remember off the top of my head. But look, let's get those Dare predictions in yet again. It did pop up as well. PGG selecting the red side again off the back of the L. So, Rusty, do you still think that this is the right move? And is red side the answer?
I think given that we've seen very odd first picks across the board throughout this entire league's playoffs, I don't think that there's much value in blue side because OP champions are just being left up and available. There's being target bans for all 6. So you're still going to have OP champions and then you get the counter pick. I do think that red's probably still currently better until teams just become too good at like the Hecarim TF themselves.
Well, let's see what champs are going to be selected. Is Twitch going to sneak his way in for a third game back-to-back? Find out right now because champ select is ready.
Yes, it is. Match point now for Order in a situation where for the first time in 2 years, they will make themselves a championship contender. Back to grand finals and back to a situation like this. Order are one of the only teams that will first pick a Karma. They've done it so far in this playoff situation and certainly throwing us another curveball.
Yeah, I mean, straight into the Karma first pick. We've seen this from Order before. It was flexible and it could go towards support, but it also could be going for mid. Kise played it. He built Luden's Echo and went like full AP supportive Karma for a Graves. Graves is up and available, and this is, I'm so glad we're seeing this pick. This is the one adaptation that I wanted to see from Pananet.gg the most after their Game 1 loss. It is that they are probably the best Xayah Rakan in the league. And we've seen it maybe once total from them, and they stomped that game. So I've been quietly waiting for this. Rakan has been achieving in a lot of other regions and just isn't picked here in OS over the Nautilus, the owner, Tom Kench. But Rakan is the 4th champion in that mix, and Xayah is really good right now.
We knew that Leona was going to be a hotly contested champion, but I'm glad that we do see that Rakan come out, because if you look at the last 8 games that have been played here by Rogue, it's been dominated by Leona, but there's been 1 game with the Rakan and 1 on the Tahm Kench. And in the game 3 situation, you just can't afford to run it back time and time again in that similar fashion. So, as you say, feel fantastic to see that one here. It feels to me like you would really want to lock in the Xayah in this position. Otherwise, surely Order are just going to deny that one away, but they're hovering the Corki. And this is interesting to me because I feel like, literally like yesterday, there's a big focus on banning all the comfort from Yuri. We saw it yesterday into Appy, and I think it's a perfect point that Kitty raised, right? Get him off utility, give him a hard carry champion.
I don't mind the Corki pick into the Karma, right? It's been revealed in first 3 here that it's going to be a Karma mid lane, so they don't even hold off on the flex. They pick the Leona because it beats Rakan. So they prioritize a winning 2v2 bot lane. The sacrifices that Corki is going to be an exceptional scaling option mid. And I never thought I'd see this day. PGG have banned Twitch. On what planet? And they're going to leave open a lot of easy bans, and that's the thing, right? Like, I really wanted a Xayah Rakan from PGG. They prioritize Corki. It makes a lot of sense to hold the Karma flex, but they prioritize Leona. So we're going to see a lot of very nice and easy targeted bans bot lane here.
Certainly are. And we expected to see that Xayah ban. What I do find funny, though, is from a global perspective, right, we sort of make up half the picks of Twitch. It's just such an unheard of champion, so certainly skewing those data points a little bit more. With a ban towards that champion, as Zeri is going to be targeted as well. So now the question becomes, what is your ideal pairing? Or is it just as simple as saying it's a Philios? It's a classic age-old Praetor pick.
I think with Xayah Zeri gone, this makes the most sense for sure. Jinx has been taken off early in the first 3 bans as well. So this is defaulting back to his most comfortable champion by a light years. I'm not surprised that that's where we're going to go. Aphelios Corki, good scaling. Lee Sin Rakan, good early game bridging champions. Winterer getting counter pick for top lane as well. With Ornn taken off the board, it's just going to be a blind Tryndamere top lane. And I'm wondering what Winterer does. Because you can go for like a Camille and just kind of weather the top lane matchup 1v1, right? There's no way Trynd kills you because you have hookshot at all times to disengage. Or is there a champion that Winterer has, knowing that it could be on the stronger side of the map, to win that 1v1?
Ziggs. This is the flex that we always knew was possible from Puma. For the first time, he shows up and says, I do have those AP mages available for me. A lot of explosive damage, but a 5th and final pick with the Malphite to say that, yes, we're going to engage, and I'm going to make sure that this Tryndamere does not do what he did to us in game 1.
And Winter 100% just looks at the enemy champions. He sees a Graves Tryndamere topside and a Karma that does no damage mid, and just says, lock me in the Rock Goblin, give me the Malphite, make me a super tank, and he will be completely immovable once we get those items coming across. This is not a situation I thought I'd find myself in. I want to hold my breath on if that is actually flex to being a Karma top lane, because it's certainly possible, and Tryndamere can deal with Corki really nicely. Biopanther is notorious, by the way, in the past, like years ago, being a Janna top player. He was one of the only people that will pick these weird champions that no one expects. So if this is in fact a 3-way flex, then this is a stroke of genius from Order through laning phase, but it doesn't stop a Malphite from having armor and matching Kisei in the split later.
Certainly will be a bit of a fright, because once the Unstoppable Force comes at you, there's a little bit left to be desired as to what you can do to try and answer that one back. He certainly is very
That's
spooky.
a Halloween skin. Malphite.
Well, I like it. I think the point that you raised about the fact that Bio once upon a time did do this, kind of stuff, right? The Karma, the Lulu, the Janna, the Soraka, all in that top lane. He was the mad scientist for a point in time, most probably for me at least, 2020. Where the meta was very much facilitative of that factor. But I do look at Order and say they have got phenomenal siege, but very good at diffusing any pressure that Penta could look to try and target towards one lane. So I am ecstatic to see how this game concludes. And if it is just done, and as easy as that for a perfect 3-0, or if Penta have finally found the secret sauce, as you've said so famously, to try and diffuse this one and bring us to a reverse sweep.
So much on the line here for PGG. Alona series. They have been comprehensively in control once they hit mid-game skirmishing. that is always the place to look at. But PGG are an aggressive early game team with good scaling options in a Corki and a Philios this time around. Belkan is the person who all eyes should be looking towards in this game to see if he can make some early moves, or if it is just going to be a casual scaling game. And if so, Skimmy, there is a world where perhaps PGG fall victim to Order, who just have been better in team fights.
They certainly have been. And obviously, check marks to look at nice and early will be the fact that it is that Ziggs, which will certainly be looking to be much more of a deterrent in the laning phase to make sure that Predif is not really enjoying himself. Certainly, we know what he can do with his Herald, the satchel charge, the execute, the pressure on the map, which has worked wonders here for Order. And it is going to be that double support, but in a very different fashion, right? Well, I was at least expecting to see, planted mid, give, Puma that hyper scaling AD carry and let him run with things, because he's been in phenomenal form, but this is very different.
Yeah, so they're going to switch lanes here as well. You flex champions, we flex lanes. Yuri's now going to find himself the Karma matchup top lane. It's a longer lane. Tryndamere is just going to hard push mid, and I think it being a shorter lane makes it a bit easier even to be the Malphite. Just press Q anytime he spins forwards, and you've got a turret actually just right there in sight. I don't mind this from Pentanet.gg at all. Just briefly touching on their draft as well, Skimmy, while we have a second. The Ziggs pick was crucial if they wanted to have a draft that made sense for scaling. Or that Malphite pick would have been GG. So the fact that they pick the Tryndamere and they go for the Ziggs last, first of all, speaks to the confidence of Puma with his unreasonably large champion, Ocean. Gage is on.
Oh, here we go. Jumping in, looking to try and make something happen right now. There's the satchel charge after the say that you can't answer back as easily as you would like, and the Calibrim's just going to connect there with the minion rather than the champion. So, good little opportunity there. Corporal is opting for the Aftershock variation compared to Rogue, who's been going for the Glacial, so going to be a lot more tankier.
Just look at these first moves as well. Longswords across the board for starting items, so again, a lot of potions to be seen, a lot of potential trades to be had. Kisei at level 3 has moved up here to protect, and Belkan finds a Tryndamere.
And he's just going to jump on him, looking for that first kill straight away. Ghost has been popped. Belkan safeguarding away. There's a flash. He's looking for a Krog, and he's going to absolutely jump to that one with no wasting of time whatsoever. In he goes, a smite and a bait, and a saying of like, oh, what do you do now? Because Yuri says, I don't want to be here. I don't want to fight for this. And we are down at a 3v2.
Yuri can't help. He has no health or mana. Potions will help, but oh my god.
I think you might just die here. Going to get flashed upon. Kisei with a lucky crit takes him out. Oh, nearly a double. My god, that flash was huge.
And just played it simple, Order. Play the map. They have priority in mid lane. The Tryndamere can clear waves instantly and push. Malphite a little bit slower in response. Walks top lane not just to potentially flip lanes with the Karma, which is ultimately what they wanted to do, but protects the Karma as he pushes and crashes the wave under the turret. Belkan finds himself face to face with a man that has a giant sword. Crits him and just pushes him out completely. Not only forcing smite on Krugs, but acknowledge that Yuri has not been doing well in that 1v1 from Karma having the push. And this all cascades out of control massively early. A nice cheeky couple of hundred in the pocket for Order.
It's just so beautiful to witness the layers behind all these moves, right? The fact that you can now display this Karma as a triple flex, that the players themselves are quite comfortable switching between mid and top, where the lane intricacies can be so different. That you can look to try and expose the opposition that might not be ready to, face those kind of assignments.
So the lanes will have flipped a little bit more here. Once again, don't be too surprised if this continues to happen here and there for solo laners. Biopanther sees the Corki, he will clear the wave and he will dip into Fog of War. Whether he leaves the lane is a different conversation. Yuri also placing extremely shallow vision just for the purpose of spotting Biopanther to see if this flip happened.
Instant Valkyrie away. Certainly terrified, even with vision there and enough time to try and figure out what's really going to happen. As you say, lane assignments are going to keep ping-ponging around to try and find what is most desirable for either team.
You want to talk about the real winner in map flip situations like this, or lane swap situations like this. It's the team that has better push. So if a Tryndamere and a Karma walk into a lane, they instantly push and leave and they have first move. They are the ones that really get to determine lane assignments. If PGG choose to not match those assignments, they move second.
Here we
go.
go.
Half health.
Free and Duo looking to try and make something happen here in the mid lane, looking to try and find their first kill, and oh, that was close. But the aerial shot comes across. And that is a big reprieve now, found for Yuri.
Yuri popping 6 there might have been able to have an ultimate to throw out to secure it regardless. A plate to be seen as well, or just under as Kevy will catch the wave. That's a huge little play for Pentanet against the flow of this game's map movement so far. Exactly what they needed. That's annoying.
Well, I was just thinking, I'm excited to see how Puma can play this one, right? Because if Rogue jumps in and then is forced to sort of back away, the satchel charge could be clutch and you know, breaking up the party and once again asserting himself as the superior AD carry.
And again, we won't see much from solo laners other than pushing and leaving, and lanes can be a little bit boring with that in mind. Junglers have more freedom though as a result, as a lot of the focus is about clearing and moving. And it also means that junglers can get the jump on their opponents a little bit more if they're walking up the river constantly. But Drake was secured, Skimmy. CS lead also secured for this Graves. Order on vision.
Going for the crab is going to be locked in and confirmed there by the side of Order, despite Pentanet's bot lane looking to try and make a bit of a challenge for it. Puma really loving life though, because he's been left on his own to farm up a storm. He's hit level 6 already.
Feels like finally it might actually have a point where things just calm down a little bit more in the lanes. Yuri, perhaps he's feeling a little bit more confident with a flashless Tryndamere to just persist in this lane. Package timer delayed as well, so there's no 8-minute Herald. Crazy shenanigans to look forward to with a Corki package. Will still exist though at a certain point. Probably for Drake number 2. Be up in 3 minutes.
It's been such a long time since we last saw a Corki. I can't remember when the last game was. I'd have to find it, but really dropped off a cliff once that package got nerfed, and we only saw, I think, at least 1 or 2 games of teams still deciding, but it's still strong. I mean, we can't forget what this build was really bringing into this new season, right? All that late game range, you know, AP poke.
Yeah, I mean, it still does damage. Malphite up top.
Yeah, he's got no mana left though, so Barkan has to try and come in here to secure the kill, and he does just that. He hits them with the Taekwondo and takes them out, and Yuri going to get collapsed upon in the mid lane. So a play found on either end of the map, mid and top, is the focus. Now it's all about how many plates you can find afterwards.
If Rogue and Yuri get caught, we have to check out how that happens in the first place. It could just be Corporal making a nice play with a flash, perhaps. Leona into Rakan is always very favored to be the Leona. The Corporal is the one who was in Fog of War, so if he goes on to Yuri, that would make sense. Yeah, really nicely done, actually. I don't know if that was intentional from him, but at the end of the day, he flashes the wall as Rakan uses E1 to try and save, cancels the W, and CC locks them, and that is huge for Order pushing mid lane, keeping the Corki down, and especially timing that with a matched trade, as Belkan got active top.
Great target focus. And just how squishy Rogue was, right? Just gone. Graves' ultimate comes across, and not much more you can do than just witness the destruction of that mid lane falling down. Great idea from Order to answer back to make sure that they are always the team ahead. I guess for another time, you know, making sure that this mid lane will not come to the conversation of scaling.
So well, we have a second just to quickly talk about items here as well. This is the second time Karma has been picked in a solo lane for Order, and it is the second time that, from the looks of it, we'll be seeing a more AP-oriented build. It could be Everfrost into support items, it could be Ludens if they wanted, but I think because they have a Ziggs that can play the full AP Ludens if they wanted path, that Everfrost into support items makes potentially just more sense for the overall health of the team, right? Karma Graves getting to work together. That's what I'm expecting, but we will have to see as those items do come across. A little bit delayed from Biopanther overall. Eclipse once again going to be seen for the Graves. Skimmy in. I don't think we've really seen any Graves builds beyond this one lately. Just a little bit too powerful. And has got the team supporting him. And just the Moby rush from Corporal. My man's got the kill. Very active, immediately rushes those boots to continue to exacerbate that impact even further and extend his presence around the entirety of Summoner's Rift.
Yeah, he really wants to be first to the play. He wants to make sure that his kill participation is as strong as it has been all split, all playoffs.
routed there.
Every time they go for a roam, they are always finding something to make it worthwhile.
Okay. Rocky Package is going to be here for the second Drake Skimmy, so it's definitely ready to be used. Order with the jump. They have been spotted.
Uh-oh. Corporal going to be kicked across out of the Moonlight Vigil. That's a bit of a disaster. Solitaire is going to come across and Corporal's going to live. In goes Yuri there with the package and the bomb to take down one. But if he gets traded for this one, as he does miss out that rocket, he is peeling and he is kiting and is saying, what can my bot lane do to try and rectify this one? Because Kisei can just go enraged. Oh, that was ugly to say the least.
Yeah, ugly is a good word for it. I was wincing IRL during that one. That was rough. That was really rough. That's just not the combo. Lee Sin potentially wants to kick DeLeona towards his team, not away. Just straight up kicks him over the wall. Perhaps wanted to kick him into the wall. We'd have to watch the kick again to see exactly what his intent was, but the Affiliate Assault misses. And that was at the same time as Mythic Timings being ready for Pentanet.gg. They're going to hit the Drake. They'll have Belkan here, so it seems like they're going to commit to it once again. Winter, a low mana, has enough for an ult.
Corporal going to try and square up against them. Has no Solitaire. It's not going to be stolen away, however. So that's a Drake apiece now for either side. As they will just disengage away. Pentanet did have a numbers advantage, but they got this site set on the lanes where they are still finding tempo. They're once again rotating him, and just Tryndamere is everywhere.
I think, put simply, the fact that Aphelios had a full Gale Force in base, it's a weird fight to take in the first place, but pressured by the package timing, perhaps, they choose to go straight for it. And even getting the jump, that somehow goes awry. I just want to watch Belkan for this one, because I think he places a control ward and just doesn't hop to it. And I don't know if that was a misclick or if the hop still happened and it still kicked them away, but that's really tragic from the jungler, from a Korean Lee Sin at that, right, who we know for absolute excellence 99% of the time. We just happened upon that 1%.
It's a worrying trend. It's happened all season, or happened all split. Happened all series, that's the word I'm looking for, dearie me. Even I'm getting a little bit confused by what's going on in this game so far, because Order are certainly showcasing that if you make one mistake, we will punish you severely. That Herald charge has just put in a whole host of work topside.
Look, I'm going to try and trade bot. Biopanther. No mythic, no boots completed, just some brown bags on his feet. A book and a dream. Knows that he's at risk, so he's going to be, again, the smart player we know him to be and will actively choose to back away. Mantra Qs only, it seems like. Whereas the turret is at risk. They should be able to commit to this one, but Ziggs is moving down just in case the play should fizzle. We spoke about Order's items. PGG have actually gone straight towards the Warden's Mail Frozen Heart Rush from Winterer. And I think it's pretty fair to say that he wants to be in the Tryndamere lane at all times, which is why Order have been actually river dancing, trying to get those lane assignments. So he's going to be a full armor tank. And the fact that Biopanther seems to be going towards a Ludens means that he definitely wants to find himself a Malphite to just absolutely juice with magic damage.
So I'm not going to be concerned about any Leandri's poke. It's all about raw damage with that penetration. As Order will do just that and keep themselves in the opposite side of the map and make sure that Pentanet will not get anything for free. No comeback conditions will be found. They are snowballing. They are strong.
Still really good scaling on the Pentanet camp. Only 2,000 gold down. Again, this is still a fairly even game across the board. You're just kind of feeling that momentum swing, right? You're feeling the pace of the game being handled by Order, which is always a scary place to be. So you have to make a little bit more movement against the grain, something proactive that isn't just trading against what Order are already setting up for themselves. But you've got a Ziggs instantly clearing waves. You've got a Tryndamere pressuring the side lanes, looking for the Corki matchup at all times. And it is a big Graves that you have to respect.
Big Graves, big Tryndamere. Tryndamere's been flexed by two players so far, and both have been phenomenal. A worrying trend here. The Order certainly have found their mojo when it matters the most, but they aren't afraid to reveal some of these insanely strong picks and flexibility options.
No teleport on that Tryndamere. Contest this would be rough, Skimmy, so I was surprised that Order even in the area, even giving it a thought. A Malphite ultimate could come across. They want mid. Does the Tryndamere move up?
Look at that, you've taken 2 turrets for the price of the Heralds.
That is absolutely worth for Order for sure. So again, I mean, Penson at the GG try and make a play, and it is responded in kind and won by Order. Herald going to be summoned for the top lane, so again, still something for them, but because the whole team isn't here, it's not looking like it's a second charge angle. They're always just lagging, you know, half a step behind.
But they are going to look to try and even things out here, and Shelly is certainly angry about things. So a second headbutt goes across.
Kevin missed the ultimate when he tried to slide ultimate, so at least the charge will come across, Kivy. Happens. Corky package.
Top lane value. Yeah. Game. Once again, mid-game has favoured Order, steadily pulling ahead. And whilst we had a bit of a contest and a rustle for that Herald, it was never a full commit. This one might be much more so. Third Dragon of this third game. Look at Winter's positioning. In goes Rogue, a one-man quickness chart. The Valkyrie on top, looking to try and get that kill. It's going to be stolen away here by Kevy as the fight breaks out. He's found a kill as well. He's removed that Volcan. Attention on towards Praetor, who's got the green and the white, so he's got the sniping damage from afar. Looking to try and take out Kevy. And he is going to remove at least Corporal. So they try and win the team fight. It is a 2-for-2. But Order at least get the Drake as well.
Yeah, the really important part there for PGG is they get to start a fight on their terms. Rakan finds the flank, finds the angle, and Rogue goes big for the team. Malphite follows through. The funny thing about that fight is it was a big ult combo onto one person. All of that for little old Biopanther, and in your mind you see that, you're like, well, that's potentially very bad. You've just used Rakan, Malphite, Corky package just on a Karma. Is this ever going to be a team fight win? But the Corky package does so much work here for zoning Kevy. He does nothing. Kisei flashes straight on top of the package and is slowed. And Praetor has chakrams for days and is just ripping them apart. There's the individual execution there from PGG beyond the pick that nets them that little team fight advantage. And a Drake.
Praetor hopefully, or certainly will be hoping for a mirrored performance in the next few subsequent team fights. Leaning on the idea that this is a champion that has certainly had its fun in the sun, that 200 years is a term that comes to mind quite frequently, but will want at least 3 items to really secure the deal. Isn't going to go for the Lord Dominance, nor is he going to go for the Infinity Edge. This time around, second item Bloodthirster wants to sustain, wants to weather the storm, but would really love a Runance.
Absolutely. Bloodthirst is going to be really big for the red-white weapon fights. He is close range, getting into the mix. Also, blue-red, just quietly activating the red weapon with the flamethrower one will be 0 to 100 HP instantly. Means that poke's effectively useless against him, but that's not really poke, is it? That's actually just an uppercut.
That's why you need the Bloodthirster, you need the overheal, you need the shielding, you need everything. You need help, and help will not be found there for Kisei, who tried to push in a bot wave as Order found strength in numbers in the mid lane. Satchel Charge goes out, Kisei dies, but so does... well, nearly prayed him. Bloody hell, that was close.
You went full British for a second there, that's a rarity.
I really did, I lost myself in that.
Harry Potter moment.
Monday.
Lost in the sauce of the HP.
Water.
700 gold was the shutdown, I think, as well for the kill on the Kisei. So you can still make the argument that gold-wise that was worth it for PGG. Was it the Lee Sin that picked it up?
I did miss it.
I feel like you would rather that does go to an Aphelios or a Corky if possible, but I'm not certain on who that did go to. And for PGG, again, scaling items is huge for them. It's very important. We start to see them get, 2-3 items for the Aphelios. Corky, without saying almost, it's just known that he's absolutely nasty with scaling, and it almost feels like there's not a Bloodthirster with this Ziggs ultimates.
Yeah.
It's getting ridiculous.
It's insane just how much damage it's putting out at such an early stage into this game. The pick is putting on work, a pick that we were certainly hyped for, and I'm glad to see it doing well. I guess if we do talk about itemization, right, whilst there is that strength with the Ludens and the Shadow Flame from the Ziggs, what we're really looking for, much like we mentioned for Praetor with that Runance and that Zeal item completed, is the fact that this Corky would love to have that you know, the Ludens as well, the Ravenous Hydra, Avoid stuff as a luxury. That's when truly those big ones, you know, they're basically doing what the Ziggs is right now.
And speaking of the Ziggs, it's actually the Shadow Flame second into a lot of really nice shield-based champions, right? Malphite passive, Lee Sin W, Rakan E, Bloodthirster, as well as the red weapon for Aphelios. This is all about maximizing that immediate 2-item spike damage. They know Puma's in this bush. Puma now knows they're there. And this stalemate, remember, Corki package, oh!
Here we go, and it wasn't Nakama, it's this time going to be the Leona. I don't know if that's the target you want, boys, but they're going to go for it! That's a Praetor moment! He just steps up in mid lane, and it's this time him not dying. He got a gorgeous double kill, and that's a big moment in this game, as there is the unstoppable force. Where you going, Kevy?
Kevy tries to keep him busy, keep him at bay. Kisei pushing top lane throughout all of this as well. No teleport for the Tryndamere. Means it's very hard to access the fight. Malphite, no ultimate. Does that mean that the Tryndamere can get into the mix? 10 seconds on teleport from Biopanther as well. Not a lot of great teleport options besides the mid-outer, or the mid-wave rather. This Baron's basically gone.
It was a 4v5, Kisei was splitting, he got a turret, but can he steal the Baron? Does he even entertain the idea of going for this one? He's seized up, or poised up rather, looking like he's keen, but Yuri pops across the wall and says, why are you here? There's a phosphorus bomb, there's a knockback, and that's
my
a nice
God.
undying range. He got a double! How? How has he got that double? They've killed them all.
Baron.
They get the Baron, unreal, what a turn of events.
This is a very slow Baron. Lee Sin is limping over.
Oh, 50 health. No, Balkan, he tried. I'm lost for words, absolutely speechless there. Kisei is a madman.
Balkan takes the Q2 and finds the resonating sounds of cupcakes on the ground.
Wow.
Easy pick up there for the Ziggs. And okay, wow, what do we say? How do you even break down the absolute chaos that just happened? Kevy gets the 1v1 onto Balkan, jungler missing, and they respect the Tryndamere for so long that the Karma teleports to mid. And I cannot state this enough, and I hope we do get a replay of that little Baron skirmish. I think it was genuinely Biopanther hitting an absolute nuke of a Q as the Tryndamere spun at the same time that just wipes them. Yuri going over the wall, I think, is fine. You've got the blast cone to play with. You almost want to entice him to come into the pit early, which is why this health trade's great and the turrets are great. Yuri gets immediately engaged on, and it's the Gale Force flash just whacks them the second Biopanther hits that Mantra Q. Where'd they go? Right, Ziggs comes in to make sure that next kill's going to be found. No lifesteal from a Bloodthirster on the Aphelios, who maybe could have clutched it. Or to stamp them out.
Phenomenal. And it felt like, really, Pensnet did everything right there. Staunch the Tryndamere off that Baron, hold the Baron in suspension to prevent that steal, get the kill. And it just went so against them. Is that the moment that ought to win this series? Because Balkan is behind enemy lines, and that is just it. He's dead. He tried to find a moment to strike.
He said no Baron at the very least, Skimmy, if there's one thing to say, but he wants the fight. Remember Corki with package here. He's going.
Yeah. Where do you go? Praetor Menulog, one tap by the Tryndamere. He's still looking for it. He wants that crit. Oh, Winter, you absolute hero. Knocks him up, heals his AD carry, and at least prevents the game ending right there. But this series, Matt, it is so dangerously close to another 3-0.
That was very close to a moment where order push with the Baron for sure. No ultimate on Winter does mean that Kevy can play with a little bit more reckless abandon. Yuri's still with 2 full items, getting closer to the 3rd, and he's level 14, so the Corki clock ticks on. Kevy overstaying.
Can they get this pick? Can they remove that Baron buff? Kevy can just quick draw into that one. There's a rocket, and you can see it's packing its punch, but they are certainly terrified about this one. And I tell you what, I mean, talk about championship quality, caliber of a player. Another game where you're down so much, where you really are relying on the idea of we need to make a play, we need to find a pick, we need some form of scaling, because your mental right now surely is in dire straits.
I mean, beyond doubt, this is a rough situation to find yourself in. You just have to hold on, right? Time is on your side if nothing changes from here but CSing. We know what Praetor is capable of on this Aphelios. He is a pentakill hunter. We know what the Corki's capable of. We know their composition has a Rakan and a Malphite to find engages if they get even a sniff of an opportunity. But a team that took the Chiefs to 5 games, Skimmy. One of the best series we've ever seen is at the precipice of being 3-0'd themselves by an absolutely unleashed Order.
You just couldn't ask for better. Just a dramatic fashion of this series as well, from all the chaos and the praise that we swung towards that full best of 5 before, about that maybe being one of, if not the best ever. But this series, it has its own juicy bits and pieces to take away from the highlight moments of Kisei jumping in and stealing that Baron, the highlight moments of Puma picking the Twitch, and the way that they just made PGG almost look embarrassed.
And it constantly revolves around these mid-game to late-game skirmishes, right? It's constantly around just finding avenues of entry you wouldn't think Order would have as a point of advantage, but they've really clearly worked on it. And continuing to press the tempo now, are going to be looking for a Mountain Soul in 1 minute. I don't believe Corki has package for this as well, Skimmy. If you're Malphite, you want the next 3 Drakes. You are absolutely chomping at the bit for the next 3 Drakes. You want that extra resistance.
Time. It's all they want. But time is not being found here. Order, no, they are so close to that grand final date. That date with Destiny to try and take on the Chiefs one more time. A team that have certainly caused them a lot of headaches this series. Well, this season, I should really say. I'm getting my words minced up here because I am so enthralled by what I am witnessing here. Drake is there, Soul Point, 15 seconds.
Both top laners are here as well. Yuri does go back to base. Teleport comes in though, no package from what we could just see. The fact that Kisei's grouping with the team, wants to hit the wave first to have his rage stacked up. Give them something other than the dance that persists at the Drake. Corki poke, I mean, that is incredibly meaningful.
Right.
Kevy actually aggroes the Drake just to hit it, but it gets denied. Oh.
Better answer
Watch
back.
Wintra. Watch Wintra.
2 AP poke champions. Every flash is up and available. Rogue on the back line. Kisei looking for it as well. Rogue going to flash on in. Quickness, knock up 1. The Drain is being claimed here by Praetor, but the fight's going to break out as a result afterwards. Yuri's already dead. Yuri's gone. They don't have the poke to hit. Don't have any AP damage. Praetor now has to try and find something. He's safe. He's protected. Kevy and Kisei are low. They want to run away from this one, but they're going to find that Malphite, and they're going to take Wintra down. He's burnt the ultimate. His position is no longer left in this world.
Kisei, no ultimate.
Oh!
He's in trouble.
Oh no, Praetor. Okay, he's found Kisei. In jumps the Zenith Blade. Praetor is going to look to try and kite this one out. He's got the blue, he's got the red, he's got the white now suddenly. Puma on the back line. Oh, he's just gone! It's a double kill here, but Praetor's going to dive to make that play a reality. Rogue going to jump on in. They're going to try and disengage away using Balkan as that carriage. And Bo's going to run them down as a karma.
Balkan goes in. He gets caught.
Oh no, he's been tethered. Oh, just managed to get away.
Jeez.
Oh, so low, so fragile.
An absolute hair's breadth. Puma no mana, no teleport as well, so we'll have to recall and walk the long way if Baron is on the cards. It doesn't feel like it's going to be a Baron angle, but the teleports will be coming in from PGG. They have to respect that it's a possibility, and we will see this again because it starts with half health on Kevy. Malphite does not go straight in for the ultimate. It's Rogue that is spotted and flashes, so they can react. Stopwatch from Puma comes in. Kevy uses stopwatch as well to ensure Malphite doesn't go. And then the fight ensues. Kisei ultimate used early, so just keep that in mind for the rest of the fight. Praetor will find him. Praetor has positioned perfectly throughout all of this as well. He's untouched, but we're back.
We're back, we are back. The bomb goes down. The peel is there to disengage away as Pentanet are scurrying for the hills. A flash from Wintra, who wants to try and use that unstoppable force to disengage! But he dies mid-flight! In goes Kisei. He's still got the Undying Rage. He's now got a Guardian Angel, so really eat your heart out of that one. As he is toying with him, saying, where am I?
Jungle is still alive here from PGG. Baron is still something that can be defended. Order have not swept vision just yet. This game continues to teeter on a knife's edge. 16 for Yuri on this Corki means the poke is incredibly significant, and Praetor has green and white weapons.
It's the promised land for a Corki, but is it the promised position to bring us to a game for the Moonlight Vigil has missed. The Truckrooms aren't stacked up. The Baron is there, down to 500, or rather 5k. Never really looked like either team was going to really risk that one with a burger flip. Far too sketchy at this position.
And if it's a full reset from Order, there is a world where PGG hit the Baron. They're going to opt away from that this time, however, perhaps just feeling a little bit unsafe. Good warding from Pensinet.gg, saves their bacon there for that little Baron play. They're able to hit a lot of meaningful poke. Good weapons from Praedyth as well, cycled through at the right time. Once again, we are going to be at a standoff for 2 more minutes till another Drake. This game could still go either way.
It really could. I mean, I don't want to feel deceived by the 6k gold lead that Order have. Pensinet certainly are showcasing that their team has a lot of damage, a lot of firepower. But do they have the team fight mechanics? They've been famed for the mechanics all split long. But in this series alone, Order have always had their answer.
They're hunting for Praedyth. It's the mid lane of infamy. And we'll be perfectly fine this time. I think we have a second because I want to highlight this, Skibby, with a 5-1-7 Graves scoreline from Kevy. He currently has an 8-0 record on Graves in the LCO. Hasn't lost on the champion yet. And through the playoffs is 22-3-8 as a KDA. This is one of the strongest picks for Order. And to be able to get that in Game 3, 2-0 up, and still go 5-1-7 is a big statement. He's an absolute master of the pick. And they've allowed him to get it.
It was that strong, that contested between both these junglers, that it was the first pick in that first game. In the game, Kevy certainly answered back and said, this is why the Graves looks better when I am playing it. That Diana put in real work. They're so close to closing out this one in a perfect 3-0 fashion. Nobody interested in the Baron. We are, as you say, just waiting for that final Drake to claim that soul point.
Oh!
Rogue's dead. Oof. Great disengage away. The redemption goes down. He's down to 50% now. And he does need to go back to base. I don't know if he has time, though.
Manages to keep Flash as well as the ultimate. Keep that in mind, Rogue could still engage. Doesn't have a stopwatch, however. That is extremely fragile. One Ziggs minefield kills him. Mentioned that Ziggs has the ultimate ready to go. Winterer does get spotted. Fights on.
Breaks out. They want to try and make this a fight whilst they got the 5v4. Puma gets the kill onto Rogue. We already knew that was to be the case. The Drake's being claimed. They've now got a Mountain Soul to try and contend with. Kisei into the backline. He's found a double kill. He's removed Balkan as well. Kisei up against the world so far. Yuri down to 50%. Praedyth completely untouched. Kisei's gone. They can siege.
If you don't recall here, you lose inhibs, if not the entire game. And if you recall and defend, they walk straight back to Baron. Order, you can see them hunting. They want to stop the bases, but they're not able to. So it is just going to be a turret straight back to Baron.
They're on Baron.
The play is theirs to make. They've earned it. Kisei will get protected, so he won't die to the Baron just yet.
One step behind. Always reactive. Pensinet falls back to base. Answer the response there. Back to the Baron where they were just before. The Baron's gone. The second Baron of the game found and claimed by Order. This time on their terms. This time started by them.
And in a game, you just want to be calm. You just want to be patient. And you just want to scale as well. PGG now have to deal with a Baron buffed, incredibly powerful 1-4 siege team with a Mountain Soul in hand. It is so hard to stop them. You can see Rogues hunting for a bush to cheese in. Will take the safer option, but actually still gets spotted there by a control ward. And Kisei knows that something's up, but is still down here.
Does he get caught here? That's the question. He's going to buy himself a lot of time. Bear in mind, there's the ult into the GA. That's plenty of time for his team to make things happen elsewhere. They've got the Baron buff. They're just going to siege down mid. You've committed your entire team, and you still haven't got the kill.
He also has a GA. If they were even to kill him there, they'd have to do it twice, and they're already pushing down mid.
No way. Don't tell me this is the way the game ends. Pensinet boosting back to their base, preventing that GG condition just a fraction longer, but they've lost that mid inhib now.
Mid inhib gone. Package has just been expended as well. The timer ticks on being able to use that one for a play. Otherwise it will just dwindle into nothing. should be able to defuse this siege with that package in mind.
Kevin tries to get cheeky with it. But they're already marching forward to a second inhib in their space. Those lanes really primed and ready to go.
Oh, they just don't have cooldowns. They use the Malphite ultimate, they use the Lee Sin ultimate to have a crack. Rogue as well. 10 seconds on the clock perhaps until they look for a real fight.
They have no Corky bombs. The rockets aren't there. He's out of charges. He might be out of juice in this game. As the Solar Flare goes across, instant flash away from Praetor. Cops the Super Mega Inferno Bomb, all on their head. Splash damage at your hideout. Flash forward from Kevy. There's the double kill. And Auto just going to dominate this team fight one more time. They have been the team to beat this playoffs. This will now be 9 wins in a row. And they are going to look to try and find that final ace. Onto the base they go. And for the 3rd time in their entire history, Order make grand finals.
Huge victory from the side of Order. Never looked like losing. An incredible run through the lower bracket. From the 4th, 5th place best of 5, 9 games in a row. And they cement their place in the LCO finals next week. Only positives to speak towards on their side. But for PGG, who could already have been in the final, Skimmy, they could already have been there if one decision was different in their best of 5 in the upper bracket against the Chiefs. They're now eliminated in 3rd.
Tantalizingly close to getting that spot, as you say, and it wasn't to be the case. All this hype, all this drama around the idea of them getting that rematch with Chiefs, and it's just completely gone out the window there. The pressure, really, from Order was just too much to overcome. They have just 3-0'd every single team to make it to this moment. And if there's ever a question about them being exhausted or perhaps not prepared, not enough time to recover from games 1 to 2, forget about it, because they are right now the team to look out for here, Mac.
If you had a look in the background of BioPanther's player cam there, he's got the Hobbit poster up, and he really is looking to go there and back again for MSI, isn't he? He's made this whole lower bracket run. Order, they've been through a lot this split, and now they have been to the grand finals. They are looking to take the cake. And PGG, just another victim, just another strike on the notes. And it looks like that team video we heard earlier from PGG, who said Order was just another stepping stone.
A big stone, aren't they?
Aged well, and it must have been a slippery one because they fell off the rocks into the river, and now they're washed out of the LCO for split 1. Wow, what a series. And it was only 3 games, but it felt like it went for a damn eternity, Rust.
Yeah, I mean, it did feel like the length of the games was more than just an easy 3-0 because it wasn't incredibly one-sided at any point. It always felt like, even though, like at this point in the game, it required something special from PGG to win. You know they're a team that have that secret sauce always ready. You know, Praetor has those moments. Balkan can have those moments. That kind of mentality continued through the entire series, even though it was a 3-0. But at the end of the day, Order just proved to be way too strong. I think the Karma flexibility in 3 lanes, the Graves for Kevy, full stop, now 9-0 on the champion. They just have so many tools now, and draft is so hard against them.
Yeah, that's it. They've just like fully flexed their champ pools for everyone. I made a joke about it on Twitter. Kisei, we saw him have a couple of rough Trind games where he didn't press R throughout the split, but he's definitely learnt from his mistakes, and he has popped off today. That 1v4, 1v5, whatever the hell that was in the Baron Pit, definitely a game-saving moment for Game 3 here. And have a look at that again, Puma. It felt like he was just landing so many of those bombs all game. Big ults all across the damn rift. And it's shown in the total damage dealt there. However, Corky definitely keeping up with him. So that one feels bad. Yuri having a very decent game in comparison to some of the other ones we saw from him tonight. But that Soul inevitably going over to Order. They fought for it. Their positioning, again, key. And even though I'm looking at Order's comp, I'm not thinking it's the greatest team fighting comp. They just had so many tools to nerf anything that was going to be thrown back. The amount of times I saw Malphite just getting picked upon, stunned for bloody seconds on seconds on seconds every time there was a team fight. Order knew exactly what they were doing. They had a game plan and they executed perfectly, Skimmy.
They did, and I mean, it's just the confidence, the self-belief more than anything that I saw from the way they played, right? You saw as the series went on a lot more desperation calls, those moments of maybe Balkan behind enemy lines, hoping that like, somebody's going to step up here, I'm going to get a catch. It's worked for us all series long, all split long, but it just wasn't that. The self-belief that we can always take these 4v5s. If it wasn't Kisei, it was, Biopanther split pushing every single time Penta that tried to seize upon that moment. I think there was no better demonstration than an entire 5-man collapse into the Trendim at the end of that game. And they couldn't even force him to ult or GA pop. So yeah. Take a bow. Take a bow order.
Take an absolute bow. And hopefully Kitty is going to be able to talk to someone that can give us a bow. So Kitty, talk to me. How excited are you? How keen are you that Rusty has pretty much caught up to your predictions?
Any order 3-0 is in chat? Any order 3-0?
You're a king. You're an absolute king.
Rusty's the Ghost Rider. And like Rusty said, never underestimate momentum, which is what I did. And I took a fat L, not just yesterday and today, but I'm sure someone who is more than happy for tonight's series is Biopanther. So let's bring him in for the interview. So Biopanther, from being 9-0 from the lower bracket all the way making it to grand finals, how are we feeling being the grand finalist for Split 1?
I'm feeling quite good. Like, I've never actually run the gauntlet ever in my whole career, so like this has been like quite the experience, like having to do the whole 3 games. But like it's just really relieving that we just do 3-0, so like it's just an early night and then like I can rest after. But I'm just really proud of my team.
An early night for you and an early night for me. Thank you, Biopanther. But everyone expected it to be a much closer series with PGG being the big dogs out of the 2 teams. So why did things go so smoothly for tonight and closing it with a 3-0?
Mainly the game plan is like Pentanet always just run around. Like if you show on top lane, they're gonna like run from bot lane all the way to top. Like they literally look for any fight possible. So if we can like just hold our ground and like be respectful of like their engages, like they literally just do nothing and then they just lose XP gold and like they don't get ahead. Like they're very reliant on like finding random picks and we just literally respect it and like they couldn't do anything the whole game.
Well, it sounds like you did really well research for tonight's series. I'm sure that Coach Series is also really proud of his drafts for tonight. I really like the game 1 draft. That was immaculate. But with just stomping the team that challenged Chiefs last week in their best of 5 series, is it possible that Order will go undefeated throughout playoffs?
Oh, well, that's the plan. Like, I've always said that, like, we're, like, the best of 5 team, and, like, Chiefs is our final step. So, like, this has all been, like, up to this, so, like, I'm not going to, like, lose now, and, like, we're going to win. Like, I've literally said we're the best of 5 team, and, like, we've showed up, and now we're just gonna reach the finals and end it there.
Like Rusty said, never underestimate momentum, and this is what we're seeing from you, Bai. Well, I'm going to let you go and have an early night's rest. See you next week and see you at finals.
Thank you. Bye.
What a damn happy man. You have to be, right? You have to be. His first time trying to run a gauntlet and he's successful with it. I dare say that's the first gauntlet for a couple of these other individuals on Order as well. So it's going to be a lot of smiles, but also a lot of hard work going into next Monday when that grand final's on. Now, Kitty, we haven't had your thoughts on that game yet. Talk to me about game 3.
I love the Ziggs picks. We don't see enough ADCs picking Ziggs. They just don't want to drop the ego because you already have such a hyper carry on the jungle, which was Kevy. And Rusty said, I think it has a 100% winner over 7 games. So that's a really good combo.
9 now over this series as well.
Okay, 9
games.
games.
Sheesh in the chat. Thank you.
Sheesh.
Okay, well, really good pairing from Order, and I really like the Karma pick being first because you can flex it into 3 lanes, which I think is kind of broken for Order. I'm sure that other teams can do it, but we haven't seen them do the same strat, and I just liked all the drafts from Order tonight. They were just all really good.
Thank you, Kitty. Also, apologies for interrupting you with that. I thought you were going to keep going. Now, it's time for the Dare MVP. And look, there were a few contenders for it tonight. But I'm going to check with the Dare to see who it was.
What does the can tell you, Mac?
Yeah,
what does
the
can say?
Reveal?
That tastes a whole lot like Kevy, who was the Dare MVP for this lower bracket match, lower bracket finals, if you will. Man popped off in the jungle doing work on a few different champs, but his Graves just dished out so much damage. 72% KP and a lot of numbers there for the KDA as well, Skimmy.
I mean, for what has been such a phenomenal battle between 2 fantastic junglers, Kevy came out clutch. Certainly came into the series and said, I am just a better jungler. We can do all these comparisons, we can talk about all these statistics, but ultimately it only matters when we're in a performance like this, in a situation like this, and a huge proponent as to why they look so convincing with that 3-0.
100%. Now, Rusty, this man, he's got a champ pool. He was also target banned in every single one of the games with that Evelyn being taken out of contention, and then had to play 3 different champs across 3 different games, but still performed and still got that there MVP. So just goes to show how good this man is in the jungle, right?
Without a doubt. I mean, Kevy has been absolutely the rising star of the past couple of weeks here in the jungle role, has stepped up huge, but we also know him for his pocket picks, and now he's doing that with meta champions, which makes him terrifying.
Yeah, a whole lot of practice throughout the split, but of course it's not just about the Dare MVP here in the post-match. We got the play of the day, and there's only one that sits in my mind. Anyone else want to contend me on it? Do you know what it is?
One you said earlier, right?
It's surely the Tryndamere steal.
It has to
The
be.
Trynd Karma and Baron, right?
Look, there's nothing else. There is literally nothing else that was as good as that. Maybe a couple of the aces they could contend, but all the limit testing for Kisei, all split comes down to this one moment. Man was just drawing all that attention, being a nuisance. They could have just finished off the Baron, but Kisei said no, he's just dived straight in and set Bio up for the janitorial duties. Big Ziggs ult as well, so Order, even though only like 2 players ended up turning up, it was perfect. Have a look. We'll run it back again. I believe, I don't think anyone got Dublaze or Tripplaze, so we can't run the Jubes line. But Kitty, give me your best attempt.
Well, guys, hide your kids, hide your wives, and hide every freaking thing from Kisei because he's stealing everything out here, y'all. Dude, Kisei's performance in his recent games has been popping up, especially in tonight's series. I think he's performed the best, in my opinion, throughout the series, throughout the split, actually. And with Biopanther going in clutch with the Luden, he just makes everyone explode in that Baron pit, and they just steal the Baron in broad daylight.
He's stealing everything out here, y'all.
Went American for a second.
Just come out of nowhere, Kitty. Now, big congrats to Kisei for that player that I also Order. Everyone else really helping out. Even though there was only 3 members on the screen, there was bombs being thrown all across the place. And who really cares about the play of the day when they took the W, right? That's what they're focused on. And I'm sure they're already focusing on that next game against the Chiefs. Now, we can have a recap of this bracket because it's fully filled out. We only have 2 teams remaining. And who bloody thought Order would be here in the grand final against Chiefs? I know we are all very surprised by that one, Rusty.
I mean, it's huge. They're making the run. And it's not even a 5-game gauntlet. They're just stomping their way to finals and their scheduled date with the Chiefs next week. So there's a lot to look forward to. If Chiefs vs PGG was a barn burner and Order beat Pentanet, what are we going to even see this time?
Yeah, that is it. And look, next Monday is going to be a scorcher. I don't know which way it's going to go after Order. The progress they've made, like, throughout the playoffs alone. Going into playoffs, they had a couple of good games, but then that game against Direwolves, stomp. The game against Peace, stomp. And look, the game against PGG, I wouldn't call it a stomp, so to speak, but a 3-0 on paper still looks like a stomp, doesn't it, Skimmy?
It does. I'm not sure who Chiefs have been banking on wanting as an opponent, right? Whether or not they wanted Pentanet for that rematch, as to how close that was, or if they're looking at Order and saying, we feel like we square up better against you. Because if you talk about reps, how many games have been played, I mean, it's just been a single best of 5, and then Chiefs have been sitting in the background watching in Twitch chat thinking, hang on a second, this is a pretty terrifying squad, whereas Order are just making magic happen in this lower bracket, and you'd be thinking momentum, excitement, performance, it's all there.
And look, thanks to Pradith, he's also expanded Puma's champ pool as well, getting that Twitch in today with the W as well. Now Chiefs maybe is quivering in their boots saying, oh no, we're going to have to run the bloody TF as well just to counter it, which we found out today was a damn good counter. Now, you guys, next week on Monday, there's something special that you can win, and it's a nice little LCO summoner icon. So make sure you can watch this on the LOL Esports channel at watch.lolesports.com to be specific. You can watch the grand final over there, and it's going to be a random drop. So you must be watching on Monday, and it's only available then. Very exclusive, very fancy, and we're all pretty worried that we're actually going to miss it because we have to work. So we have to figure out a way to also log on and get this bloody summoner icon because I don't want to miss out on it. But yes, only available for the grand finals broadcast. You can receive it from anywhere around the world. So A couple of the giveaways have been OS only. This one isn't. So all you North Americans, Europeans, wherever you bloody are in the world, you can win one of these as well. So you can also support OS over at MSI because one of these 2 remaining teams is going to make it. Now, that grand finals, by the way, is going to be starting at 5 p.m, half an hour earlier than usual because we got a double banger, mega-sized pre-show for the game start, which will be at 6 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. We're not daylight time anymore because that's gone. It's dark outside and it still feels late, but it's the same time as usual. So that is it for all the playoffs and all the online broadcasts. Next time we get to work, we'll be next to each other. Woo!
We can touch grass and touch each other, Mac.
Yeah?
Just leave that one up there.
Okay.
There's a mic drop moment.
Okay, well, on that note, I can't wait to touch Rusty.
No.
Why?
Let's just move on without that even being said. I can't wait to have a live finals.
Yes,
that's what I
me
said.
Too.
Is that not what I said?
No.
Skimmy made it weird. I didn't make it weird. Anyway, that is it for all the fun playoffs, but we got the grand finals to get to. That's going to be on next Monday. Ladies and gentlemen, please stay safe over the weekend, and we will see you on Monday for the finale of the LCO 4-Split 1. We're going to be buying tickets for one of these teams to go over to MSI. Tune in. Don't miss out. See you then.
Put in, right? All these towers are falling on Dan. He's taken 3, both top and bottom. Moonfall comes out again, and that's 2 locked in place. A good answer back so far from BTG, but Winter rocks to the fight, and he's back to midi form. That's not what you want to see. If I just lay credit to Bio in the side lanings, he's now going to rock up to the team fight and find a double kill. There's the Undying Rage. There's the double also for Puma, and we're looking for that first ace in this game. Puma flashing forward, finding a triple.
Whoa.
Try and go for this play right now. Instantly forces out Yuri to go gold, and fight takes place in the Dragon Pit at the exact same time. Fight still breaks out here around this play. As Yuri's dead, in goes to slicing Maelstrom, and he's just going to die. Puma's going to find that kill. They're going to find 2. As Zari comes on cross, and they're going to double kill on both their mid and their bot lane. They're going to look to try and find their first ace in this game. Volcon running for the hills. Poised up rather, looking like he's key, but Yuri pops across the wall and says, why are you here? There's a phosphorus bomb, there's a knockback, and that's a nice Undying Rage. He got a double! How? How has he got the double and killed them all?
Baron.
They get the Baron. Unreal, what a turn of events.
This is a very slow Baron. Lee Sin is limping over.
Oh, 50 health. No, Volcan, he tried. I'm lost for words, absolutely speechless there. Kisei is a madman.
Hey, look, Menulog.
You might get it at the 10-second mark. Ready?
Is that an earring?
I mean,
earpiece? What is that?
What even?
Oh, what's that?
Oh,
Rise?
oh, what is that? No, does that boy look a bit
Nasus.
fluffy?
No. Oh, here comes...
Jax, it's Jax.
Yes!
Okay.
It's Jax's sleeve.
She's done it again, coming in close.
Oh, yes.
God.
Yeah, like we were getting that from the red
Jax's
mist.
elbow.
Yeah, okay.
Oh,
Good one,
yeah.